is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Strong, very strong,
yes.
wasn't it? I felt that. Welcome to DBL. It's Wednesday, November 18th. I am Tori here with my dear friends, Al and Lindsay. You both look beautiful.
Thank you.
So do you, Tori.
Good to know we're dear friends, too.
Yeah, you're dear friends.
You only hear that at like a funeral. It's kind of weird.
You know what? I'm bringing it back.
Okay.
I'm bringing it. All right. We begin with more good news today about a coronavirus vaccine. So drug maker Pfizer says the final analysis of its vaccine now shows it's 95% effective on patients, including seniors. This is wonderful news. The company plans to submit it to the FDA within days. Meantime, the FDA just approved this at-home test kit for COVID-19. So it'll give you results in about half an hour, but it will require a prescription. All of these new tools can't come soon enough, as the White House Coronavirus Task Force just came out with a serious new warning about the fall surge, saying, quote, there is now aggressive, unrelenting, expanding, broad community spread across the country without evidence of improvement, but rather further deterioration. Current mitigation efforts are inadequate and must be increased. To sum it up, it means we ain't doing enough. Currently 47.
Really?
Seriously, that's
Yeah.
all you have to say. 47 states are now labeled as red zoned states. When have we ever agreed with 47 states on one thing? That's everywhere except Vermont, Maine, and Hawaii. Speaking of which, we're already seeing these more empty shelves at stores across the country as people stock up ahead of another possible lockdown. We aren't doing it. We're not doing anything. So we're going to have to do it again until we get it right. I feel like it's an A, B to C thing, and we're not, somehow there's a disconnect. What do you think, Linz?
I think we still have this disjointed state by state, do what you want,
Right.
free for all. And here we go again. I feel much calmer this time, so I probably won't go running to the grocery store to get the same amount of toilet tissue that I got last time.
How about beans? I got a lot of
Beans and all that
Why?
stuff.
Because I thought,
You
oh God.
Huck Finn? No one wants that. Look, I'm not following. I'm like you, Lindsay. We did this once with the fighting over the toilet paper, the wipes. I think everybody's kind of stocked up on that stuff. I think now we need to stop with the easy stuff, which is panic buying, yelling at people on the internet, and just get ready to like really hunker down. Let's try that. We've tried everything else. We've tried the arguing. We've tried the name calling. It doesn't work. We've tried the weddings. We've tried the frat parties. Here we are. Let's just Netflix for 3 months and see if we can get past
From
this.
your lips to God's ears, I just don't know if everyone agrees with you. There's a great amount of people that don't agree. I do want to give you this update I found on my phone. North Dakota has the highest mortality rate in the world. 1 in 1,000 people of their residents are dead.
Wow.
I needed to say that so you heard a wow, because we're starting to get lost and numb to the numbers. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
All right, lock it down, people. Well, a major grocery store chain is getting a lot of pushback. It's all over the advertisement the store published saying, hosting, plan a super spread. Ay, with pictures of shrimp, fruit, cheese platters. The store has apologized, saying that in hindsight, the choice of words was poor, but it had no intentions of insensitivity. Al, is this, you're the jokester. I find that, it's not funny.
I don't know. Were they trying to be funny?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, a spread, a super spreader.
First of all, anybody that's eating shrimp, like off somebody's table, that's not on ice.
I've had good shrimp at places. What about you?
I don't know, maybe the wrong people were in the room. We saw this happen time and time again with advertising campaigns that go wrong, and these come out way quicker than advertising campaigns in magazines. And so I think somebody just said,
it's just the wrong
this is a good
time.
idea, we call it a spread, and then somebody thought it was funny.
But
It
I'm
was a
sure,
fail.
Lindsay, when you post something, don't you ask your boyfriend, Colin, does this come off weird? Does this sound like I'm
I mean,
angry?
not
Or is
every
this
time. Let's say I was.
But if you were about to launch an ad campaign, would you be like, is this weird? And then somebody would
yeah,
be like,
he talks me off the ledge
Wait,
sometimes.
where's the one guy?
some Gen Zer in the back, like, I don't want to get fired, but that looks crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot of yes men, and it was just read the room. Probably not the best time to do a super spreader pun. Even I wouldn't.
Or have a party. Let's start there.
Yeah, or have a
Okay,
party.
There we go.
That's a good point as well. Whew, all right, well, we have a couple of crazy viral videos. First up, here's something you don't expect to see on the streets of New York City. A man with a flamethrower hops on top of a city bus. I love narrating these. He was filmed firing the weapon into the air over and over again. Turns out it may all have been part of a Wu-Tang tribute music video by a local rap artist. Police say they're investigating. What would you do if you saw that, Lindsay?
It's too smushed in New York for this nonsense. Like, I would get annoyed. What are you doing?
A flame?
What are you doing? That's ridiculous.
Do you not want to celebrate Woo Wednesday like it is this Wednesday?
I'm saying a
I sure
flamethrower is
do.
extreme. You can just get a lighter, put your lighters up, little kid boys. I don't know why you need a flamethrower.
What's Woo Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, obviously our cameraman Rob's a big Wu-Tang Clan fan, so am I. Patty, our incredible executive producer, is as well. You wear some Wu paraphernalia, listen
On
to some
Wednesdays?
Wu. Yes, or you listen to it on the car. Just get your mind right for the
Should
day.
I get you a bus to stand on top of and a flamethrower? How are you correlating
If you
these
have
two?
access, why not? He's on the. If somebody's got a flamethrower, don't you want them to be on top of a bus?
It's true.
You're right. They're pointing it straight ahead.
It's a better sight. That's true. All right, next up, extreme road rage. Oh, these make me so nervous. Caught on camera, and a warning to our viewers, this video is a little graphic. It was reportedly all over a parking spot in Queens, New York. A man with a baseball bat begins to smash a white car. So you see oh God, the car quickly turns to hit, oh my gosh, and then plows through a local bakery with the man on his hood. What is wrong with people?
In television, it's bad to have dead air. I'm sorry. We're not talking because our mouths are wide open.
100%.
There are pedestrians.
That is insane.
I didn't watch this video before the show.
I like to find out as I narrate.
Yeah, I wanted
me
to
too.
see, and I was about to say, I know how road rage gets in New York. You know, sometimes you flip somebody off every now and again. New Yorkers are rude. Everybody knows that. But this is extreme. This is ridiculous.
When did we start using our cars as like weapons, like in protests
Right,
now?
that's crazy.
I think there's that thing where like they say, don't pull out your gun unless you're ready to use it. I think it applies to situations like this because when you have road rage, you're like, I don't like that woman. I'm going to throw this at her car. But in my head, I'm not prepared for what you're about to do.
Right.
So I did that, and now things escalate, and now you have yourself driving. I mean, that's a attempted murder. I don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, when you use a car, it's like it can be used as an actual weapon. That's what they use in court in the law. Well, coming up on DBL. Woo!
Wow.
We're reliving the moment when celebrity medium Matt Frazier sent chills down Erica's spine with his psychic visions. And People magazine crowns the new sexiest man alive.
Thank you.
Al, congratulations.
Al, that you behind that blur?
I mean, it's clearly me.
It's not. We'll reveal the hot hunk coming
It's
up
me.
next. It's
Come
not.
back. It's me.
It's definitely not.
Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and a pair of infectious disease experts.
Based on what we know right now, it's likely that a vaccine would be recommended for a person who's had COVID because we don't think that prior infection is likely to generate lasting immunity.
Dr. Stuart Ray, a professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins, says the vaccine will add a layer of protection.
Given the stakes, it seems a good idea to be really sure.
I think the answer is going to be yes.
And Dr. Linda Nabha says that if a patient does acquire some antibodies, we still don't know how long those antibodies last and whether they provide immunity.
I've had patients in my office who I have had documented cases of COVID, documented right through the nasal swabs, and been positive for a few months, and I've tested their antibody tests, a few months later, and they're negative. Shocking. But it does happen.
On their website, the CDC says that, quote, people may be advised to get a COVID-19 vaccine even if they have been sick with COVID-19 before. So we can verify, if you're one of the millions of Americans who have already contracted the virus, our experts say it's probably going to be recommended that you get vaccinated. Now, if you've got something that you want verified, you can email the whole team at verify@WUSA9.com.
Welcome back to DBL. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael B. Jordan. I thought we were going to do it backwards. Has been named People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive.
They spelled my name wrong in the prompter.
It's really wrong. Really wrong. Not one letter. The actor posted the cover on Instagram writing that his grandma is looking down saying, "That's my baby." He told people that his mom, aunts, and grandma were big fans of the annual issue. So he's known for appearing as the villain in Black Panther alongside the late Chadwick Boseman. He also played Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, in the movie Creed with Sylvester Stallone. Michael made the big reveal on Jimmy Kimmel last night. Jimmy even awarded him his trophy, which was a mirror.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I first off want to just talk about Michael B. Jordan, but also a lot of people writing in being like, is this not a double standard? Like, we're like, look at the hot hunk Michael B. Jordan. We wouldn't do this for women, would we? Anymore?
Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue?
I mean, I think that would be a different story nowadays after, I mean, am I being too sensitive?
I think you're being a little PC.
Okay, now let's
Michael
talk.
B. Jordan, and excuse me, Colin, my boyfriend, but he is very hot. I'm sorry.
Way to go out on a limb there.
I'm sorry. I was going to just say he deserves this. He's been deserving it for a couple of years now.
He is. You're absolutely right, gorgeous. I just hope I'm not being a double standard.
I was looking at the clips we were showing. I was like, can a man's chest look like that? I was like, how do you do
the whole Black Panther movie? I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it's distracting.
And can I be honest? He works very hard at the craft. I know I sound like such an LA person, but he cares a lot about acting instead of just looking good.
Right, and that matters because you see the guys that were kind of heartthrobs to start their career, like Matt Damon, that worked on the craft and they became great actors, and some guys were just, I'm the good-looking guy in Twilight, and then you never hear from them again.
That's right.
I love that he said his family keeps him humble because, like, his family will tell him calm down, and I think that all of us can relate to our parents. Like, nobody cares. Tell me something else.
Totally. Tell me something else. All right, we got this other story for you. Matthew McConaughey reveals, and I didn't understand this, he was estranged from his mom for 8 years because she was obsessed with his fame. So during an episode of Red Table Talk, which we all love here, Matthew says his mom started taking advantage of his newfound fame in the mid-90s. He said she would leak news about him to the media, invited the tabloid TV show Hard Copy into her home even. Take a look.
Mom's leading the camera going, and there's the bed where I caught him with Michelle. You know what they're doing? No big deal because she didn't last. Over here's the bathroom. And of course, I walked in him on there and caught him doing you know what before as well. But don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And over here, I'm going, holy Mom, you got Hard Copy in my bedroom. She goes like, oh, that. Oh, that. I go, yeah, that. And she goes, I didn't think you'd find out.
It's even worse, to be honest. Now, let's be honest, there were some deeper levels of some abuse going on between his parents and a very hard divorce, then remarry, then divorce, remarry. They're not unconventional parents. So there was more to that estrangement. But have you ever had a member of your family kind of dealing with this estrangement or into your fame? I'm not famous.
I'm not famous.
This is more of a cute story that I love. But, you know, when I perform in my hometown of Cleveland at the Hilarities Comedy Club, they're a great comedy club, you know, my family comes out. And comp tickets, I can get some tickets, but not that.
Tell people what comp tickets are.
Yeah, complimentary tickets. So I'll be like, oh, you know, my mom and my aunt. And I had an aunt that that's going to remain nameless, and she sent me a text, and she was like, we're going to need 30 tickets for the 8 o'clock show. I was like, we can't do that because we're going to bankrupt the club. We can't.
30 tickets?
We can't. That's like thousands of dollars. We can't. But it's just
like 2 or 3.
My baby's performing. We can just use this showroom as our living room. So
it is true. Once you're generous, then it's like expected, and that's frustrating. I think it's like, come on, it's not a free for all. And yeah, I love that he told his mom, loose lips sink ships. Tell his mom. He said in the interview, because I think it's important that like your family doesn't treat you any different. That's what a lot of people always talk about. That my family and people that I love didn't treat me any different. I think that's like a.
I agree with you. Also, if you look now, she's been quarantining with them, and she's on every Instagram with Camilla McConaughey, his wife. They seem like the happiest family. So I was really shocked to find this out. But in his book Green Lights, he discusses this, and he said it was hard being raised with such unconventional parenting. And so I want to read that whole book.
Yeah, and it shows you every relationship doesn't have to come to an end. Maybe just an 8-year break. Think on it. And we'll circle back in 2 presidential terms to see if you've gotten yourself together, and she did. So good on her.
Circle back.
Yes.
That's right. All right, coming up on DBL, reality star and medium Matt Fraser blows us away with his psychic visions. Don't miss the moment that gave Erica goosebumps. Coming up next.
If you have Medicare,
Welcome back to DBL. For psychic medium Matt Frazier, connecting to the supernatural world is just another normal day. Well, earlier, Eric and I spoke to Matt, who had some messages from the other side. Take a look.
Your father, he just showed me his writing. Shut the hell up. You had his writing tattooed on you?
Yes. Matt Frazier, welcome to DBL. You are a psychic medium, but I really want you to explain that for like a kindergartner. How does that work for you specifically?
Did you lose your husband as well?
My second husband, yes.
How many husbands did you have?
My third.
God bless.
You know, I really don't know how it works. All I know is that I see and hear dead people. I grew up having this gift. It was something that actually ran in the family. My grandmother was a medium who passed it on to my mom and then in turn passed it on to me.
Well, I am a believer. So who's the most surprising deceased person who's appeared to you?
Well, the most surprising, I would have to say, is Joan Rivers. I remember that someone came to me for a private reading, can't say who because I know it is confidential, but they came to me and all of a sudden I was seeing Joan Rivers. And I gotta tell you, I was starstruck. The moment that she came through in the reading, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like meeting her in real life, just in the afterlife. And that's how our loved ones come through. You know, when I see them, I see our loved ones in spirit, without illness, without being upset, you know, without the illness that they had here in the physical world, but they do carry their personality.
That's what you want with Joan Rivers. Matt, we have to know, can you now see anyone around us now, like right now?
Absolutely. So the moment that I'm connecting with you, right away with Erica, her grandmother's right behind her.
We talked about it. Oh my God, that's so weird.
The moment I'm connecting, her grandmother's right there, so strong around you, so very proud, and your grandmother was like the glue. Like she held everybody together here in this world. And more importantly, she was so obsessed with you when she was here in this world. She was literally like your mother. She shows me her being spending morning times with you, and she used to be obsessed with your hair because she's standing behind you and she's touching your hair when I'm connected.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
Yes. Okay. So what's going? I mean, now I'm like, what else do you see? What else is happening?
Well, first of all, your grandmother's stepping forward because this was a woman who had suffered before her passing. She's telling me when I'm connecting with her that it was really hard for her to leave this world because there were so many things that were going on with her medically. First of all, when I'm connecting with them, Spirit will put me back in their body and show me what they had gone through. And when I'm connecting with your grandmother, she was telling me there was issues with her breathing and there was issues with her lungs before she had passed. And she tells me that at the end, it's like she was in a coma. She tells me she really couldn't speak and she really couldn't talk. She says, and I never got to tell her goodbye. She says, I never got to tell her how much that I loved her. Yes, it was implied, but your grandmother wishes that she had those final moments with you to let you know how much she truly cared about you.
Erica. We always knew. We always and she appears often, so
she's always in this room.
Thank you.
And here's the thing, Erica, as well, is that when I'm connecting with her, she's also got a child that's with her that passed as well.
A child?
Wow.
Yes. This was actually a baby, so I don't know who lost the miscarriage or lost that soul, but that soul's there with your grandmother.
Wow. Recently?
No, I don't know if it was recent or not, but your grandmother has this soul that's in her arms on the other side.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Did I freak you out? I'm sorry. You're looking at me like
oh
you're
my
seeing a
God,
ghost.
that is like crazy that you would say that right now. Wow.
Do you want me to take this question?
Okay, thank you.
Well, no, it's her way. I don't know if you feel comfortable talking about that or not, but she has that baby on the other side, which is her way of validating to you that that child is safe and at peace. Because even if a soul was never born here in this world or never got to be born here in this world, those souls are still with our loved ones on the other side. And your grandmother's saying, make sure that you pray. You know, I hear all your prayers. She hears the things that you're saying to her and that she's watching over everything.
Oh my God.
Are you freaked out right now?
I'm not freaked out. I just like, that was like so, wow. Wow.
Something you might needed to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like it's weird. Like I feel this pressure like on my chest right now. Like it just.
Connection.
That was like.
Connection. Wow, Matt.
Well, listen, if you pass out, I used to be an EMT, I can revive you. And if you die, we'll just talk to you, Erica. So you're all set. You don't have to worry. You're with the best person right now.
Matt Frazier, you kind of blew us away. Erica's gonna need some oxygen, so if you can help figure that out for us as a former EMT, that'd be great. Thank you so much for chatting. And honestly, thanks for stopping by and giving healing and closure to so many people. And we love your jacket. Thanks for stopping.
Thank you. I gotta tell you that I absolutely love what I do. I really do.
It shows,
you know,
it
and
shows.
my whole goal is to reach as many people as possible, to show you that your loved ones are always right here. They never leave you. And more importantly, that you're never alone. When you think about them, when you reminisce about them, they're right there and by your side, and your loved ones are always with you.
What a lovely thought. That's so good to know. Thanks, Matt. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Viewers sent us this tweet from former advisor to President Trump and conservative commentator Sebastian Gorka. In his tweet, he points out the backdrop during a Joe Biden speech that says, "Office of the President-elect," and he claims there is no such thing. Well, let's verify. Is there an official Office of the President-elect? Our sources are Gary Nordlinger, a political science professor at George Washington University, and a memo from the General Services Administration.
As best I can tell, it's a very, very nice photo backdrop that Joe Biden came up with in the last week.
Nordlinger says, no, there is no official federal office. However, our researchers did find a memo written this year by the General Services Administration, the agency that enables the presidential transition. The memo informally refers to an Office of the President-elect to simplify the terms for the transition team of the President-elect and the Vice President-elect. Our researchers also found this picture from January 11th, 2017. Look closely. President Trump himself had a similar sign that reads Office of the President-elect. So no, there is no official Office of the President-elect, but it is an informal title for a transition team, and Joe Biden isn't the first to use the title.
I love a good back shot. Well, welcome to DBL. New research shows more people are taking, it's right where the fat is, are taking advantage of open enrollment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're chatting about it in this DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. Oh, Lindsay, I got Lindsay giggling. And Al. Okay, if you haven't signed up during open enrollment, the clock is ticking. 64% of workers survives surveyed say they want to pay more attention reviewing their employee benefits this year. 27% plan to increase their life insurance or hospital insurance, stop. And 57% reported financial stress or hardship this year. There are so many plans out there. It's all about finding the right one for you. We've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plan. Just call 1-800-800-9974. So we have some comments for you guys. The first one is Douglas. So everyone in this together, protect one another, yet hoard all the supplies for themselves, hypocrites. And then Golden Sea, and I want to get your take out. It's not the bleeping apocalypse, people. Calm the bleep down.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're at a strange point, and so we have to all decide.
We're not gonna avoid this backshot thing. I'm sorry.
That was a weird thing to say. We gotta not address that.
Okay, let's talk about COVID now.
I would just say that, you know, as a group of people, we have to make a decision about, do we want to have life back to the way we got used to it, or just stay with the arguing? That's the only decision. And if indecision means we stay here, and that's a decision too.
All right, DBL's new every day. You'll never know what to expect. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
People are emptying store shelves again in fear of another lockdown. But could we be days away from a coronavirus vaccine rolling out? A wild case of road rage turns into a baseball bat fight in the streets. You won't believe what happens next. In today's True Crime Chronicles, an adoption nightmare under investigation.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
The unthinkable crimes these parents are accused of after years of having kids in their care. And Ice-T gives us the behind-the-scenes scoop on Law & Order SVU.
Who would be your dream cast member?
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 18th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. We've got some really great news, so let's get started. The coronavirus vaccine, okay? Drug maker Pfizer says the final analysis of its vaccine shows it's actually 95% effective on patients, including seniors. The company plans to submit it to the FDA within days. Now, meantime, the FDA just approved this at-home test kit for COVID-19. It'll give you results in a half an hour. It will require a prescription. Now, all of these new tools cannot come soon enough, as the White House Coronavirus Task Force just came out with a serious new warning about the fall surge, saying, quote, there is now aggressive, unrelenting, expanding, broad community spread across the country without evidence of improvement, but rather further deterioration. Current mitigation efforts are inadequate and must be increased. So currently, 47 states, look at that map, you guys, are labeled as red zoned states. That's everywhere except Vermont, Maine, and Hawaii. Speaking of which, we're already seeing more empty shelves at stores across the country as people stock up ahead of another possible lockdown. In fact, Jeff, we had a number of our viewers writing in yesterday that when they went to some of their local stores, they could not find sanitizer yet again. They could not find toilet paper, paper towel. Here we are again.
It shocks me how overblown people go to like get all these products, but then when we say, hey, you could prevent this by doing this, nobody pays attention, right? They don't get overblown with that. I was listening to an interesting podcast talking about how the world on a global scale is handling this better than the United States, and like Europe specifically, they follow each other's lead. So if Germany has an idea that seemed to pan out in the last 8 or 9 months, France jumps on board, right? And then the Netherlands asks France, what are you doing? So they're all kind of on the same page. Here in America, we are on 50 different complete pages, right? South Dakota, one example, the mayor, the governor, I don't want to put her on blast, but I am putting her on blast because if I remembered, I'd blast her, is like, come visit South Dakota. We're not locking anything down. We're not even wearing masks. Come visit South Dakota. And I believe now North Dakota has the most deaths. Again, I'm not a doctor here, just listen to a podcast, but we need to get on the same page is basically what I just ranted about.
Then that would be a federal mandate. That would be a federal mandate, Al, but a lot of people don't want it to be federal.
Yeah, Sam, we keep losing sight of the fact that we are in a capitalistic society. And there's no money, Jeff, in us all being on the same page. There's money in dissent. I can sell chicken sandwiches during commercial breaks when I say, don't listen to what the government's telling you. Follow my blog, follow my Twitter, follow my TikTok as I tell you why this is all wrong. And no matter how, even though they won't get everybody, they'll get enough that we're going to continuously deal with this until we deal with the mandate. We would be doing the same thing if this was 1982 and it was seatbelts. We'd be doing the same thing.
Erica, do you think, considering, when I remember when we first went on lockdown, Erica, you were so generous. You reached out to me. I just had baby Miles. And you said, Sam, if you need me to get any supplies for you, if you need me to do anything that you yourself can't do since you just had a child, let me do that. And we've always on this panel seen you as the most prepared survivalist, so to speak. What do you make of another lockdown and whether or not there's going to be enough inventory stocked up on shelves?
Well, first of all, I was very concerned, okay, because it's like this girl is going to get out of the hospital and be like, what is happening? Because we were all like, what is happening? But I think to Jeff's point, that was such a great point. People will load up on doomsday prep, but they won't do the things from day to day in order to prevent a doomsday to prep for. I mean, I went just to get on regular essentials from Amazon, which wasn't to prep for anything. And I got all these notifications back. Can't get this, can't get that. As far as the actual vaccine coming, and we aren't, I mean, like you said, we kind of always keep things readily available so that we're not in this panic mode. I'm just always kind of thinking that anything could happen at any time. Big Mama kind of instilled that in me. But in terms of the actual vaccine being in the next few days, there are a lot of people that need to think outside of themselves. Think about people who have lost spouses, especially in elderly age groups. These are people who are asking, what is the point of living a life if I can't actually live it? So these are people who are very much looking forward to this coming out so that they can have a sense of normalcy, in older years.
No, that's important to remember. And I also want to involve a couple of comments, and we'll get to the next story. Douglas on Twitter says, so everyone is in this together, protect one another, yet hoard all the supplies for themselves. Hypocrites, great point. And Golden C on Twitter says, it's not the bleeping apocalypse, people, calm the bleep down. Thank you, DBL Nation. Okay, we do have a couple of crazy viral videos. First up, here's something you don't expect to see on the streets of New York City. A man with a flame thrower hops on top of a city bus. He was filmed firing the weapon into the air over and over again. Turns out it may have been part of a Wu-Tang tribute music video by a local rap artist. Police said they are investigating. I love how like the bystanders, Al, they're not even like fazed by it. People just start whipping out their phones.
Those are New Yorkers. That's everything now. Anytime something goes down, people grab their phones. And anything that's pro Wu-Tang, it's Wu-Tang Wednesday, Jeff. I'm sure you guys celebrated at home before you got here. So I'm all on board on that.
You are?
Is that like a Taco Tuesday? Is it rivaling?
It is. Well, I mean, nothing rivals tacos, but yeah.
All right.
And here's another viral video, Erica. Extreme road rage caught on camera. And a warning to our viewers, this video is a little graphic. It was reportedly all over a parking spot in Queens, New York. A man with a baseball bat begins to smash a white car. The car quickly turns to hit him and then plows through a local bakery with the man on his hood. Erica.
I just automatically assume that everybody is crazy until they prove differently, and it's still a probationary period, okay? I waved to this woman, thanking her for letting me in on the highway. I thought she had let me in, and I went like this to wave. Well, apparently she thought that I had flipped her off, so she came up next to me, nearly ran me into the emergency lane, and made sure to flip me off 3 times before speeding off to wherever she was going. And I was like, you know, you can't win for losing. Just assume everybody is crazy at all times.
Yeah, terrifying. Wow. Okay, so Erica, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, People magazine crowns the new sexiest man alive. We'll reveal the hot hunk.
It's clearly me.
It might be Al. Plus, inside the elite club, where being brainy is boss, does Tori have what it takes to hang with the best and the brightest? And we're catching up with SVU stars Jamie Gray Hyder and Ice-T, how the pandemic is impacting their long-running show. Next.
See yourself.
Welcome.
Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and a pair of infectious disease experts.
Based on what we know right now, it's likely that a vaccine would be recommended for a person who's had COVID, because we don't think that prior infection is likely to generate lasting immunity.
Dr. Stuart Ray, a professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins, says the vaccine will add a layer of protection.
Given the stakes, it seems a good idea to be really sure.
I think the answer is going to be yes.
And Dr. Linda Nabha says that if a patient does acquire some antibodies, we still don't know how long those antibodies last and whether they provide immunity.
I've had patients in my office who I have had documented cases of COVID, documented right through the nasal swabs, and been positive for a few months, and I've tested their antibody tests, a few months later, and they're negative. Shocking. But it does happen.
On their website, the CDC says that, quote, people may be advised to get a COVID-19 vaccine even if they have been sick with COVID-19 before. So we can verify. If you're one of the millions of Americans who have already contracted the virus, our experts say it's probably going to be recommended that you get vaccinated. Now, if you've got something that you want verified, you can email the whole team at verify@WUSA9.com.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to crime shows, Law & Order SVU is the undisputed champion. Well, the show is back for its 22nd season, and I got to sit down with veteran Ice-T and newcomer Jamie Gray Hyder. Check it out.
Paul Davies, NYPD. You're under arrest for first-degree murder.
Well, fans of SVU need no introduction to our two guests today because it is Ice-T and Jamie Gray Hyder from SVU. Welcome to Daily Blast Live.
What's up? What's up with the blast? How y'all doing?
Thank you. You guys actually went back to production during the pandemic. And unlike some other sets, y'all set is really like a set of the people. So how did you guys handle being in the pandemic? What were the precautions like?
Break it down, Jamie.
Well, there's a lot going on. I think that they've done a really good job about making sure we're all safe and still able to do the show in the way that we always have. So that includes testing every single day. That includes masks on everyone, shields on everyone. We have temperature checks twice a day. We rehearse with masks on, and really the actors are only exposed for the few moments that we're actively shooting. And I think, we're hoping people won't nitpick that too much because we are going to be acknowledging the pandemic in the show, but it's not really fun to watch somebody with half their face covered. So we don't wear masks while we're actually shooting, but the pandemic and all of that is part of the narrative for sure.
Ice, you've been very transparent in the past how episodic dramas like SVU can be some of the hardest gigs in Hollywood. How do you play the same character for 22 seasons and not get burnt out?
What makes it hard is because it's a movie that never stops. You shoot 23 episodes a season and it just keeps going. So once one episode ends, it just starts again. A new director comes in and just keeps going and going. If you shoot a movie, you might be in it for 2 months. Then you get a break till you get another movie. This is a year's work. What keeps me from not burning out, I'm not in every scene. This is an ensemble cast, so it's not like there's only one person carrying the whole show. That's what kills people. That's when you hear about these actors breaking down, from exhaustion. It's too much work for one person.
Jamie, I have to ask you, because Mariska is a legend. I'm sure you were a fan of the show before you stepped on. Was it intimidating to work with her?
The second that I came on set, Mariska was one of the first people to introduce herself to me and make sure that I knew that she wanted me there, and that, for instance, she had seen my audition tape and she was really excited. And to sort of have that nod of approval helped me remind myself that I have something to offer and I'm supposed to be here. It's not a fluke. I really hope there's an SVU season 42 in the future. But until then, I am so excited to be where I am.
Well, we're excited to see you and watch your character evolve. Ice, before you go, I have to ask, out of all the famous people, all of your friends you've had on the set, who would be your dream cast member to walk on to SVU?
Oh, my favorite actor, Brad Pitt.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we have a call to action, DBL Nation. Well, Jamie, Ice-T, thank you so much for spending time with us on Daily Blast Live. The new season of SVU is airing right now. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. Recognize this symbol? You've either seen it or have no idea. Well, it's Mensa, one of the oldest and largest high IQ societies in the world. A society so big, yet so little is known about it. Tori wanted to know what it's really like to be a member, so she went straight to the source and even took a test. Take a look.
Mensa International dates back decades. In 1946, two men decided to create a society for bright people, where race, color, age, religion, and politics didn't matter. Just one thing: their IQ.
It's just a number, but my IQ is being measured as being 145.
And that's the kind of IQ you need to get in. Let's break it down. 100 to 110 is a high average. 120 to 129 is superior. And 130 and above is considered highly gifted.
We are joined by Sandy Halby, local secretary and president of the Plains and Peaks Mensa in Colorado Springs. Sandy, you are part of the largest and oldest high IQ society in the world. Tell me a little bit more about what Mensa is. My co-host Jeff thought it was a Jewish support group, so clearly he's not getting in.
Well, Mensa is an international organization that was actually founded in 1946 in England for people who've scored in the top 2% on a standardized IQ test. There's lots of high IQ groups out there, but Mensa's the largest one with over 140,000 members.
Are you guys really that smart, or are you just really good at taking tests?
I don't know. One real common misconception is that at our meetings and our events, we sit around talking about partial differential equations and that we play three-dimensional chess, things like that. We all have pocket protectors. So you have people out there from all walks of life. So you get such a variety of people. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Mensa.
And you'll even have a Daily Blast Live host. I'm just kidding. So who has the highest IQ in Mensa, and do any celebrities belong to a Mensa group?
Supposedly, the highest IQ is Marilyn Vos Savant. She used to have that column, Ask Marilyn.
Yes.
And supposedly, she had the highest IQ in the world. Now, as far as celebrities, Gina Davis was a member of Mensa.
Really?
Yes.
Man, that's amazing. All right, now the youngest member of the Mensa IQ Society is 3 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how do you test someone that young, and how rare is it? Be honest.
It's very rare.
Okay.
Mensa has had members as young as 2 and as old as 106. Yes. But most Mensans are between 20 and 80. And as far as testing people that young, there's psychologists and psychiatrists who have tests that they can determine the intellectual potential of children.
I bet so many parents
but it's really rare.
Are
really
like, my kid can do it. My kid can put the round thing in the round hole. It's amazing. So Mensa is open to anyone that scores a 98% or higher on an IQ test. I'm going to be taking the test and releasing the results, I promise. But I was wondering if you were up for a little test from our side of the camera. It's called the Densa test, and it's all pop culture, if you're ready.
Pop culture is my weak area on Twitter.
That's what we thought.
Let's give it a go.
That was what we were hoping for. All right, number one, who is your favorite Kardashian? Can you name any?
Oh, Kim.
Oh, starting off strong, Sandy. Starting off strong. Number two, who is Justin Bieber married to?
Well, I know Justin Bieber is a Canadian.
Oh, look, this is fantastic. That counts. It's Haley Baldwin, but I like the answer of the geographic one better. That was really good. All right, how about this one? Which cast member of the Tiger King series was on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, it was the lady, and it was because I watched that whole thing. I thought the Tiger King thing was fascinating.
Me too.
I binged it, okay?
I'm so proud you even watched it. Carol Baskin was her name, but I'm impressed that you even knew it was the lady. That was unbelievable.
This has been really fun. And if people are interested in Mensa, I would invite them to visit the American Mensa website. That's www.us.mensa.org.
Awesome. And to learn more about actually her Mensa chapter, check out plainsandpeaks.us.mensa.org. There's a lot of words there, but if you're smart enough, you should be in Mensa.
Wow, that is fascinating, Tori. Tori joining us now. Okay, so Tori, you took the practice test. Let's take a look at your results.
Okay, average.
You scored 36 of a possible 50. 72%. So a little bit above average.
Yeah, she did well. It's like the average score and then her score. So good on Tori.
But you know Tori wanted to be Mensa so bad.
How does it feel to be on the outside looking in?
Okay, here's the deal. It was timed, guys. It was timed. So I only got to 36 out of 50 because it was timed. But the questions were really tricky. Here's an example. Yeah, shut up. Tabitha likes cookies, but not cake. She likes mutton, but not lamb. And she likes okra, but not squash. Following the same rule, will Tabitha like cherries or pears?
Pears.
I didn't listen.
Why?
I think maybe look at the consistency of the food.
I actually think that's wrong. You would never make it.
I know I wouldn't. I actually think Al could possibly be Mensa, Tori. I think Al needs to take a test.
Tori, are you giving me? Should I take it?
Absolutely. I'll send you the link, but it's timed.
Tori, that was a fantastic interview. We'll be right back.
Can we call her 36?
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. You guys have a lot to say still in regard to the lockdown. Linda on Facebook says, we have plenty of TP here and Clorox wipes. Anisha says, we should have shut the whole country down at once and all quarantine for 14 days and get on one page. We probably would be through with it by then. January on Facebook says, a lockdown will destroy our people and our country. Nathaniel says, a shutdown will not work unless you shut down everything, not just the non-essential businesses, but the essentials. Shutdowns will be pointless to many essential workers. And Don, there's something to be said about the natural order of selection.
I don't know. Well, we didn't say that with polio.
Great point. And we did eradicate polio.
Yes.
If
you don't just let things run wild.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Adoption's gone tragically wrong. Why two parents are accused of the unthinkable in True Crime Chronicles. And how fame ruined Matthew McConaughey's relationship with his mom. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joins us from home. Let's get started because Michael B. Jordan has been named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. The actor posted, ooh, there he is, the cover on Instagram, writing that his grandma is looking down saying, that's my baby. He told People that his mom, aunts, and grandma were big fans of the annual issue. He's known for appearing, of course, as the villain in Black Panther alongside the late Chadwick Boseman. He also played Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, in the movie Creed with Sylvester Stallone, also The Wire. Michael made the big reveal on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. Jimmy even awarded him his trophy, which, by the way, was a mirror. Erica, what did you think of People's pick for Sexiest Man Alive? And if you could pick anybody, who would it be?
I think Michael has earned it. I really think what people miss about these picks, or I don't think they're just the aesthetic choice. I mean, obviously, obviously he is a very sexy man. He's a very attractive person, but we've seen him grow into the megastar that he's become. Like, he started off like innocent in these little like family dramas, you know, like just the boyfriend or, you know, just the guy next door. And now he's this mega star. And I think success and growth is sexy as hell.
It is. And I think that's actually what separates men from women. I think men typically look at the aesthetic, and there's data that supports that. Women, we love the hustle. We love the passion. We love that person's swag, so to speak, and talent. I think that can be just as, if not more, attractive.
I think you're underestimating men.
I think you are too.
Yeah, and Jeff, here's my argument to that. You know who all my homies were in love with when we were young dudes? Is the mom from Married with Children, Peggy Bundy.
What?
A lot of my friends
You know
thought
why?
she was
Because
attractive.
she was a little promiscuous.
Yeah, well, also
you were
she
into her
was like,
because she had cleavage
and I hate
from
to
her
use this word because it's only associated with, but like feisty and like had something funny to say, and she had something about her. She had spirit.
Exactly.
And I think
what
she was
you just said right there.
Jackson.
I think Peggy Bundy was attracted to a lot of men because she wasn't just traditionally beautiful.
Just proved my point.
What?
Her outfits were skin tight with her cleavage from her chin.
But
to
then
her
if we're going with your theory, then why wouldn't the Sports Illustrated supermodel be what we talked about? If it's just being scantily clad, it's because she had something. Jeff, back me up or come at me.
No, I'm triggered by what Sam says in the article and everything because, you know, I don't think we should be putting men on a pedestal like this.
See what you did,
it's
Sam?
antiquated. I'll be having a conference in Dayton, Ohio.
No, that's actually that's real statistics. I'm not.
I don't know. I'm going to have a conference complaining about people, not People Magazine, people in general. We're going to be dressing like Teletubbies during the banquet portion.
I'm with that.
Thanks, Al.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, that's enough, Jeff. We got it.
Well,
we
I'm
got it. And Al, we have no
people.
idea what you were talking about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Erica.
Your point was mute before you even got it out. Okay.
Erica, I'm
Okay,
just saying,
final thought.
guys like that. I'm just saying, don't sleep on dudes. I know no
You
guys
just
have been
proved
like,
my-
look at the
you-
Sports Illustrated model. There's women that have a little something.
You see what your hand
but see,
motion
here's
was?
the
I'm
issue,
doing that.
Al.
Where do you want me to put them here?
Okay. Wow. You just proved my point. 2005 Sexiest Man Alive, speaking of which.
I don't like that term.
Matthew McConaughey reveals that he was estranged from his mom for 8 years because she was, quote, obsessed with his fame. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Matthew says in the mid-90s, his mom started taking advantage of his newfound fame. He says she would leak news about him to the media and even invited the tabloid TV show Hard Copy into her home. Watch.
Mom's leading the camera going, and there's the bed where I caught him with Michelle. You know what they're doing? No big deal because she didn't last. Over here's the bathroom. And of course, I walked in him on there and caught him doing you know what before as well. But don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And over here, I'm going, holy Mom, you got Hard Copy in my bedroom. She goes like, oh, that. Oh, that. I go, yeah, that. And she goes, I didn't think you'd find out.
Now, I'm sorry to jump in here, guys, but I've always wanted to ask this of Jeff. You're super humble about your fame, but you are a famous dude. People know you, and you're already making a face. When you came out of the Big Brother house the first time, what was the first thing that you kind of knew, like, people know me?
Yeah, because yours was instant famous.
It's weird.
Let me clarify. It's 15 minutes, okay? So I do have a story actually about that. I didn't think anyone was watching Big Brother. For those of you who don't know, I was on a reality show. When I came out, there was a live audience, right? And I came out of the house, and they're like, hey, Jeff. And I looked in the, it was an audience. So I was like, I think I went to college with that guy. What's he doing here? And someone's like, hey, Jeff. And I looked back and I waved. I'm like, I think that girl was a waiter at my restaurant. My mind was totally still where I was before I left, right? So I was like, what are those people? What are the odds that those people are here? And then Julie Chen goes to me, I'm like, that's so weird. I think I went to college with that guy. She goes, Jeff, people have been watching you for 3 months on television. And it didn't even register to me that I was like, what? And I look back and then everyone's like, yeah! And then I kind of felt the moment. I was like, I stood up and kind of I engaged in it. But yeah, I didn't even realize that people were watching us. And then I don't mean to drone on, but when we got off, like the internet was just flooded with images of me and Jordan cartoons, and I stayed up. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was like, what is going on? It was crazy.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
Can we see a little picture really quick of Matthew McConaughey? He looked like saxophone dude. I didn't even recognize him.
Who is saxophone dude? You can't just say that.
No,
and then,
not that picture.
Are you talking about Kenny G?
Yes, Kenny G.
He did.
Good one.
That's it.
He looked
Come on
just
now.
like Kenny G in the video. Look. I didn't recognize
Sam.
Matthew.
Thank you, Erica.
What?
Kenny
Erica said
G.
no? Erica said no?
I'm surprised they didn't get beeped out by the booth.
Okay, well, another former sexiest man alive, Erica, is George Clooney, and he has confirmed that he is one generous friend. In the latest issue of GQ, George says back in 2013, he gave 14 of his closest friends suitcases. Each suitcase filled with $1 million. Wow. He says this was before he dated his wife Amal or had a family and wanted to repay all the friends who helped him out when he was a struggling actor. One of those friends was Cindy Crawford's husband, Randy Gerber. The two helped create Casamigos Tequila, which then they later sold in 2017 for $1 billion. Erica, what would you do if your friend gave you $1 million? And what if you were like the 15th friend and then you had to find out like the next day?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I really don't know what I would do if a friend gave me $1 million. I mean, obviously that would mean a lot in terms of what I meant to them, and that's a very special thing. I have thought about, what if I was in the position to really change somebody's lives? Like, who would I start with? And I know I would start with my parents, like that's kind of a no-brainer, but I would definitely automatically weed out anyone who I've given money and I haven't heard from them, or I've given money to and they've posted something on social media flaunting how cool and great they are, but have neglected to pay me back. So those are the people I wouldn't give money to.
Yeah, but you know they'd be one of the first people to call you, being like, "Oh, hey, Erica, we heard you sold your franchise or whatever that may be."
Yeah, I mean, but is there an amount that would like offend you?
What do you
like
mean?
if I sold my tequila for $1 billion and I was like, I love my DBL family, here's a check for $3,000 for all my co-hosts. Would you guys?
I think this was before he sold it.
This was
before he sold it.
Okay, but let's say now.
No, absolutely not. If you gave me anything,
you're telling me you guys wouldn't be at the bar like 3,000. All right. Mr. Billionaire
I think
over here.
they'd be generous. I'd be like, thanks for
You are
giving
a
me
nice
anything.
guy.
I'm on. At least I'm on the list.
Obviously, you would feel differently if you found out I sold my candle company, Byron & Co., by the way, for $1 billion, and then I gave you a check for $3 grand. How would you feel?
I'd be like, great, we can go to a nice dinner.
A nice dinner? Where do you live?
I mean, can you change my life, Sam? You have $1 billion. Change my life, please. I'm your friend.
Wow, greedy.
It's kind of like judging your friends on how expensive the bottle of wine is that you bring over. Because if you're like, man, these people have a lot of money, I got to bring a $50 bottle, and you're pissed about it.
Have you ever Googled? Have you ever Googled the bottle when somebody gives you a bottle and then you go in your kitchen and you Google it?
No, but
I have.
I know you have.
I'm not going to Sam's house.
Coming up on
Dang,
DBL.
man, now you make me nervous. When I come over, I got to get a big bottle now.
Yeah, you do. Coming up.
Kendall Jackson.
A shocking family tragedy, innocent children who were adopted only to be allegedly held captive and killed. The fight for justice next in True Crime Chronicles.
Close.
Viewers sent us this tweet from former advisor to President Trump and conservative commentator Sebastian Gorka. In his tweet, he points out the backdrop during a Joe Biden speech that says, "Office of the President-elect." And he claims there is no such thing. Well, let's verify. Is there an official Office of the President-elect? Our sources are Gary Nordlinger, a political science professor at George Washington University, and a memo from the General Services Administration.
As best I can tell, it's a very, very nice photo backdrop that Joe Biden came up with in the last week.
Nordlinger says, no, there is no official federal office. However, our researchers did find a memo written this year by the General Services Administration, the agency that enables the presidential transition. The memo informally refers to an Office of the President-elect to simplify the terms for the transition team of the President-elect and the Vice President-elect. Our researchers also found this picture from January 11th, 2017. Look closely. President Trump himself had a similar sign that reads Office of the President-elect. So no, there is no official Office of the President-elect, but it is an informal title for a transition team, and Joe Biden isn't the first to use the title.
Welcome back to DBL. It's a twisted and very disturbing story from Tennessee, a true adoption nightmare. It all started with a missing boy, which unraveled a web of alleged child abuse and more. This is the story of the Gray family in DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
This is Michael and Shirley Gray. The couple grew up in Mississippi, where they raised their 2 biological kids. Once their kids got older, they moved to 10 Mile, a small community near Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where they decided to adopt 5 children over the span of 5 years. From the outside, it seemed like a normal, big family, but on the inside, pure torture. It all unraveled on May 22nd, 2020. An 11-year-old boy was spotted walking alone on a road.
Drew the attention of 2 people passing by. They contacted 911.
He was one of the Grays' adopted sons and told police he and his sibling were being held captive in their basement. But what he said next was even more disturbing.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
Police swarmed the Grays' home. And after questioning, Michael admitted to burying his dead 11-year-old daughter in his backyard in 2017.
They did find a skull, and at that point, the anthropology folks in the forensic center were called.
Police later discovered that little girl was locked in the basement as punishment for stealing food and died weeks later. During the search, 3 of the Grays' adopted children were found and recovered. Michael and Shirley were arrested.
Michael, do you have anything to say?
And then, a week later, while the Grays are in custody, detectives find a second body buried outside their biological son's home in Knox County. That body was another child the Grays adopted.
We were charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
Murder and child abuse charges. The couple allegedly starved their kids in filthy conditions.
Had no running water and no electricity. Inside this room was a bucket that was filled with human feces and urine.
The 3 surviving children weren't cared for in years. Little to no food, no education, and no doctor visits.
It is hard and it's ugly, the things that people will do to children.
So why did they do it? The couple was getting paid by the state monthly to care for these kids. Little is known, but for now the focus is on the kids and their long road to recovery.
The goal is to help these children understand that they're not bad and they didn't do anything wrong.
If the Grays are found guilty, they could get the death sentence.
Earlier, Tori and Al spoke with a reporter who is following this case. Take a look. We're joined by senior investigative journalist John North from 10 News in Knoxville, Tennessee. All right, John, these kids were adopted and should have gone to a loving home. Instead, the worst happened. They were living in horrific conditions. What was that like for them, and how are the 2 surviving kids doing today? This breaks my heart.
Tori, it is a tough story to talk about. It's been a shocking one. They were put in terrible conditions, like you say. At least a couple of them were kept in a cage or confined downstairs. They were given very little food. At least one of them was given a bucket to use for the bathroom. It's that kind of conditions, if you can imagine. It's horrible enough to think about a grown-up, but they were doing this to children.
John, I'm going to ask you a question that I hope you can't answer. Do we know why the parents did this? Like, what could possibly have been their motive?
Al, it looks like from the records that we've got and from what the prosecution has said, that they basically were using the children for the money that they got, because they got payments for taking care of these adoptive children. That was kind of the trust that was given to them. We'll let you take care of these children, we'll pay you, but let's make sure you do a good job in looking after them. And the evidence is that they were not doing that at all. They were just happy to have the money.
This is like my worst crime for me. It touches, when you hurt a child, it's so different. The parents and their oldest son all pled not guilty. So, John, where does the case stand now? What's coming up next?
So it spans 2 counties. The elder couple is facing murder charges in one county where the first body was found of one of their children in the yard. And we now have a second case that involves, as you say, the elder parents and their natural-born son, because another body was found in the yard of this house in the second county. And those are murder cases as well. Everybody is in custody. We've got a court date coming up, I think, next month. We don't know if the death penalty is going to be sought. There's been a hint of that, but that is never a simple thing to pursue, as you guys know.
Yeah, we were just saying how I said I'm not for the death penalty personally, but in cases like this, it's very hard to not think that way, to be super honest with everyone. Do you feel the same way, John?
There are some cases that you look at and you go, yeah, that could be a death case. And then there's some that you're like, no, that's not going to be one. This is one that I think arguably you could say the prosecution will take a hard look at. But we also have to be honest, in today's society, the prosecution doesn't go for the death very often. It's just pretty rare.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you for keeping this case publicized. I know it's kind of gotten lost a bit, and we want to keep it in the headlines. For the latest on this case and to learn more, please visit WBIR.com. You can also listen to a new podcast episode about this case. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. John, thanks for keeping this in the headlines. We'll be right back.
Help.
Welcome back to DBL. New research shows more people are taking advantage of open enrollment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're chatting about it in this DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. So if you haven't signed up during open enrollment, the clock is ticking. 64% of workers surveyed say they want to pay more attention reviewing their employee benefits this year. 27% plan to increase their life insurance coverage or hospital insurance, and 57% reported financial stress or hardship this year. There are so many plans out there. It's all about finding the right one for you. We've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plan. Call 1-800-800-9974. Have you guys done the open enrollment yet? I keep putting it aside. I keep flagging my email. Do it. but I don't know if I have to do it. Do I do it?
Jeff, I feel like that's your
Have you changed it though since Miles now?
Yeah, when you do have a child, that's a life event. So you can therefore bypass open enrollment, and within 30 days of a life event, having a child, you can add people to the plan. So Miles is added.
I told you about that thing that
yes,
our parent Tegna has specifically, so you should look into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
I like that we're having like a private conversation.
I don't know what to say without to say, hey, here's my health benefit number. You know?
I just got you can wrap.
I just like the life event takes all the humanity out of it. A life event.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, the radical step one young woman took to change her appearance, why she chose to bleach her own skin.
It always just felt like it was the world that had a problem with my skin, but not me.
And she was a woman of the law who says she was fired for being gay. How she turned the tables and was just elected the new sheriff in town.
I can run that department better than him, and I know it.
Her story tomorrow on DBL.
You cannot miss those stories. They are so good. Okay, and one last story before we go. Spike Lee is set to direct a musical film about the founders of Viagra. Spike co-wrote a screenplay based on an article that appeared in Esquire magazine called All Rise, the untold story about the guys who launched Viagra. The film will show how the little blue pill was originally a treatment for heart-related chest pain, but then researchers soon found out it had a game-changing effect below the belt. Good idea?
Yes, I think this is going to be really, I mean, let's be honest, Viagra has impacted our world in a major way. I mean, we laugh about it, joke about it, but ED is a major thing. It affects both people in a marriage, and I think that it's probably changed a lot of the trajectory of a lot of people's sex lives.
And a clever title, which helps.
So I hope about court.
What?
He says All Rise.
Well,
it's obviously not about
Thank you, Sam.
Jeez.
No, I just think it's, I don't know, I was kind of shocked.
Would you watch it, Jeff?
Would I watch it?
Yeah.
Watch it right? Or watch the whole show?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Look what children you are. Erica, you know what I find fascinating is that I feel like
Where else are we going to go with that?
Maybe it's still not destigmatized sex and Viagra, but I think what's even has more of a greater stigma is when women talk about their libido. I feel like there still really isn't even an equivalent to Viagra for women. So let's talk about it. It's real.
I agree. I think that it should be something that should be at the forefront. But I understand that women get down with Viagra too. So
that's what I've heard.
I don't know. I don't know.
Women
I just want to have
Viagra?
a show tomorrow. So let's wrap this up.
Write a play about
it. Look at the way the human body is set up. It makes sense.
About a women's libido? Sure, maybe I will. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks, Erica.
About today on Daily Blast Live.
People are emptying store shelves again in fear of another lockdown. But could we be days away from a coronavirus vaccine rolling out? A wild case of road rage turns into a baseball bat fight in the streets. You won't believe what happens next. In today's True Crime Chronicles, an adoption nightmare under investigation.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
The unthinkable crimes these parents are accused of after years of having kids in their care. And Ice-T gives us the behind-the-scenes scoop on Law & Order SVU.
Who would be your dream cast member?
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 18th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. We've got some really great news, so let's get started. The coronavirus vaccine, okay? Drug maker Pfizer says the final analysis of its vaccine shows it's actually 95% effective on patients, including seniors. The company plans to submit it to the FDA within days. Now, meantime, the FDA just approved this at-home test kit for COVID-19. It'll give you results in a half an hour. It will require a prescription. Now, all of these new tools cannot come soon enough, as the White House Coronavirus Task Force just came out with a serious new warning about the fall surge, saying, quote, there is now aggressive, unrelenting, expanding, broad community spread across the country without evidence of improvement, but rather further deterioration. Current mitigation efforts are inadequate and must be increased. So currently, 47 states, look at that map, you guys, are labeled as red zoned states. That's everywhere except Vermont, Maine, and Hawaii. Speaking of which, we're already seeing more empty shelves at stores across the country as people stock up ahead of another possible lockdown. In fact, Jeff, we had a number of our viewers writing in yesterday that when they went to some of their local stores, they could not find sanitizer yet again. They could not find toilet paper, paper towel. Here we are again.
It shocks me how overblown people go to like get all these products, but then when we say, hey, you could prevent this by doing this, nobody pays attention, right? They don't get overblown with that. I was listening to an interesting podcast talking about how the world on a global scale is handling this better than the United States, and like Europe specifically, they follow each other's lead. So if Germany has an idea that seemed to pan out in the last 8 or 9 months, France jumps on board, right? And then the Netherlands asks France, what are you doing? So they're all kind of on the same page. Here in America, we are on 50 different complete pages, right? South Dakota, one example, the mayor, the governor, I don't want to put her on blast, but I am putting her on blast because if I remembered, I'd blast her, is like, come visit South Dakota. We're not locking anything down. We're not even wearing masks. Come visit South Dakota. And I believe now North Dakota has the most deaths. Again, I'm not a doctor here, just listen to a podcast, but we need to get on the same page is basically what I just ranted about.
Then that would be a federal mandate. That would be a federal mandate, Al, but a lot of people don't want it to be federal.
Yeah, Sam, we keep losing sight of the fact that we are in a capitalistic society. And there's no money, Jeff, in us all being on the same page. There's money in dissent. I can sell chicken sandwiches during commercial breaks when I say, don't listen to what the government's telling you. Follow my blog, follow my Twitter, follow my TikTok as I tell you why this is all wrong. And no matter how, even though they won't get everybody, they'll get enough that we're going to continuously deal with this until we deal with the mandate. We would be doing the same thing if this was 1982 and it was seatbelts. We'd be doing the same thing.
Erica, do you think, considering, when I remember when we first went on lockdown, Erica, you were so generous. You reached out to me. I just had baby Miles. And you said, Sam, if you need me to get any supplies for you, if you need me to do anything that you yourself can't do since you just had a child, let me do that. And we've always on this panel seen you as the most prepared survivalist, so to speak. What do you make of another lockdown and whether or not there's going to be enough inventory stocked up on shelves?
Well, first of all, I was very concerned, okay, because it's like this girl is going to get out of the hospital and be like, what is happening? Because we were all like, what is happening? But I think to Jeff's point, that was such a great point. People will load up on doomsday prep, but they won't do the things from day to day in order to prevent a doomsday to prep for. I mean, I went just to get on regular essentials from Amazon, which wasn't to prep for anything, and I got all these notifications back. Can't get this, can't get that. As far as the actual vaccine coming, and we aren't, I mean, like you said, we kind of always keep things readily available so that we're not in this panic mode. I'm just always kind of thinking that anything could happen at any time. Big Mama kind of instilled that in me. But in terms of the actual vaccine being in the next few days, there are a lot of people that need to think outside of themselves. Think about people who have lost spouses, especially in elderly age groups. These are people who are asking, what is the point of living a life if I can't actually live it? So these are people who are very much looking forward to this coming out so that they can have a sense of normalcy, in older years.
No, that's important to remember. And I I also want to involve a couple of comments, and we'll get to the next story. Douglas on Twitter says, so everyone is in this together, protect one another, yet hoard all the supplies for themselves. Hypocrites, great point. And Golden C on Twitter says, it's not the bleeping apocalypse, people, calm the bleep down. Thank you, DBL Nation. Okay, we do have a couple of crazy viral videos. First up, here's something you don't expect to see on the streets of New York City. A man with a flamethrower hops on top of a city bus. He was filmed firing the weapon into the air over and over again. Turns out it may have been part of a Wu-Tang tribute music video by a local rap artist. Police said they are investigating. I love how, like, the bystanders, Al, they're not even, like, fazed by it. People just start whipping out their phones.
Those are New Yorkers. That's everything now. Anytime something goes down, people grab their phones. And I'm, anything that's pro Wu-Tang, it's Wu-Tang Wednesday, Jeff. I'm sure you guys celebrated at home before you got here. So I'm all on board on that.
You are?
Is that like a Taco Tuesday? Is it rivaling?
It is. Well, I mean, nothing rivals tacos, but yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And here's another viral video, Erica. Extreme road rage caught on camera. And a warning to our viewers, this video is a little graphic. It was reportedly all over a parking spot in Queens, New York. A man with a baseball bat begins to smash a white car. The car quickly turns to hit him and then plows through a local bakery with the man on his hood. Erica.
I just automatically assume that everybody is crazy until they prove differently, and it's still a probationary period, okay? I waved to this woman, thanking her for letting me in on the highway. I thought she had let me in, and I went like this to wave. Well, apparently she thought that I had flipped her off, so she came up next to me, nearly ran me into the emergency lane, and made sure to flip me off 3 times before speeding off to wherever she was going. And I was like, you can't win for losing. Just assume everybody is crazy at all times.
Yeah, terrifying. Wow. Okay, so Erica, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, People magazine crowns the new sexiest man alive. We'll reveal the hot hunk.
It's clearly me.
It might be Al. Plus, inside the elite club, where being brainy is boss, does Tori have what it takes to hang with the best and the brightest? And we're catching up with SVU stars Jamie Gray Hyder and Ice-T, how the pandemic is impacting their long-running show. Next.
Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and a pair of infectious disease experts.
Based on what we know right now, it's likely that a vaccine would be recommended for a person who's had COVID, because we don't think that prior infection is likely to generate lasting immunity.
Dr. Stuart Ray, a professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins, says the vaccine will add a layer of protection.
Given the stakes, it seems a good idea to be really sure.
I think the answer is going to be yes.
And Dr. Linda Nabha says that if a patient does acquire some antibodies, we still don't know how long those antibodies last and whether they provide immunity.
I've had patients in my office who I have had documented cases of COVID, documented right through the nasal swabs, and been positive for a few months, and I've tested their antibody tests, a few months later, and they're negative. Shocking. But it does happen.
On their website, the CDC says that, quote, people may be advised to get a COVID-19 vaccine even if they have been sick with COVID-19 before. So we can verify. If you're one of the millions of Americans who have already contracted the virus, our experts say it's probably going to be recommended that you get vaccinated. Now, if you've got something that you want verified, you can email the whole team at verify@WUSA9.com.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to crime shows, Law & Order SVU is the undisputed champion. Well, the show is back for its 22nd season, and I got to sit down with veteran Ice-T and newcomer Jamie Gray Hyder. Check it out.
Paul Davies, NYPD. You're under arrest for first-degree murder.
Well, fans of SVU need no introduction to our two guests today because it is Ice-T and Jamie Gray Hyder from SVU. Welcome to Daily Blast Live.
What's up? What's up with the blast? How y'all doing?
Thank you. You guys actually went back to production during the pandemic. And unlike some other sets, y'all set is really like a set of the people. So how did you guys handle being in the pandemic? What were the precautions like?
Break it down, Jamie.
Well, there's a lot going on. I think that they've done a really good job about making sure we're all safe and still able to do the show in the way that we always have. So that includes testing every single day. That includes masks on everyone, shields on everyone. We have temperature checks twice a day. We rehearse with masks on, and really the actors are only exposed for the few moments that we're actively shooting. And I think, we're hoping people won't nitpick that too much because we are going to be acknowledging the pandemic in the show, but it's not really fun to watch somebody with half their face covered. So we don't wear masks while we're actually shooting, but the pandemic and all of that is part of the narrative for sure.
Ice, you've been very transparent in the past how episodic dramas like SVU can be some of the hardest gigs in Hollywood. How do you play the same character for 22 seasons and not get burnt out?
What makes it hard is because it's a movie that never stops. You shoot 23 episodes a season and it just keeps going. So once one episode ends, it just starts again. A new director comes in and just keeps going and going. If you shoot a movie, you might be in it for 2 months. Then you get a break till you get another movie. This is a year's work. What keeps me from not burning out, I'm not in every scene. This is an ensemble cast, so it's not like there's only one person carrying the whole show. That's what kills people. That's when you hear about these actors breaking down, from exhaustion. It's too much work for one person.
Jamie, I have to ask you, because Mariska is a legend. I'm sure you were a fan of the show before you stepped on. Was it intimidating to work with her?
The second that I came on set, Mariska was one of the first people to introduce herself to me and make sure that I knew that she wanted me there, and that, for instance, she had seen my audition tape and she was really excited. And to sort of have that nod of approval helped me remind myself that I have something to offer and I'm supposed to be here. It's not a fluke. I really hope there's an SVU season 42 in the future. But until then, I am so excited to be where I am.
Well, we're excited to see you and watch your character evolve. Ice, before you go, I have to ask, out of all the famous people, all of your friends you've had on the set, who would be your dream cast member to walk on to SVU?
Oh, my favorite actor, Brad Pitt.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we have a call to action, DBL Nation. Well, Jamie, Ice-T, thank you so much for spending time with us on Daily Blast Live. The new season of SVU is airing right now. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. Recognize this symbol? You've either seen it or have no idea. Well, it's Mensa, one of the oldest and largest high IQ societies in the world. A society so big, yet so little is known about it. Tori wanted to know what it's really like to be a member, so she went straight to the source and even took a test. Take a look.
Mensa International dates back decades. In 1946, two men decided to create a society for bright people, where race, color, age, religion, and politics didn't matter. Just one thing: their IQ.
It's just a number, but my IQ is being measured as being 145.
And that's the kind of IQ you need to get in. Let's break it down. 100 to 110 is a high average. 120 to 129 is superior. And 130 and above is considered highly gifted.
We are joined by Sandy Halby, local secretary and president of the Plains and Peaks Mensa in Colorado Springs. Sandy, you are part of the largest and oldest high IQ society in the world. Tell me a little bit more about what Mensa is. My co-host Jeff thought it was a Jewish support group, so clearly he's not getting in.
Well, Mensa is an international organization that was actually founded in 1946 in England for people who scored in the top 2% on a standardized IQ test. There's lots of high IQ groups out there, but Mensa's the largest one with over 140,000 members.
Are you guys really that smart, or are you just really good at taking tests?
I don't know. One real common misconception is that at our meetings and our events, we sit around talking about partial differential equations so that we play three-dimensional chess, things like that. We all have pocket protectors. So you have people out there from all walks of life. So you get such a variety of people. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Mensa.
And you'll even have a Daily Blast Live host. I'm just kidding. So who has the highest IQ in Mensa, and do any celebrities belong to a Mensa group?
Supposedly, the highest IQ is Marilyn Vos Savant. She used to have that column, Ask Marilyn.
Yes.
And supposedly she had the highest IQ in the world. Now, as far as celebrities, Gina Davis was a member of Mensa.
Really?
Yes.
Man, that's amazing. All right, now the youngest member of the Mensa IQ Society is 3 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how do you test someone that young, and how rare is it? Be honest.
It's very rare.
Okay.
Mensa has had members as young as 2 and as old as 106. Yes. But most Mensans are between 20 and 80. And as far as testing people that young, there's psychologists and psychiatrists who have tests that they can determine the intellectual potential of children.
I bet so many parents
but it's really rare.
Are
really
like, my kid can do it. My kid can put the round thing in the round hole. It's amazing. So Mensa is open to anyone that scores a 98% or higher on an IQ test. I'm going to be taking the test and releasing the results, I promise. But I was wondering if you were up for a little test from our side of the camera. It's called the Densa test, and it's all pop culture, if you're ready.
Pop culture is my weak area on Twitter.
That's what we thought.
Let's give it a go.
That was what we were hoping for. All right, number one, who is your favorite Kardashian? Can you name any?
Oh, Kim.
Oh, starting off strong, Sandy. Starting off strong. Number two, who is Justin Bieber married to?
Well, I know Justin Bieber is a Canadian.
Oh, this is fantastic. That counts. It's Haley Baldwin, but I like the answer of the geographic one better. That was really good. All right, how about this one? Which cast member of the Tiger King series was on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, it was the lady, and it was because I watched that whole thing. I thought the Tiger King thing was fascinating.
Me too.
So I binged it, okay?
I'm so proud you even watched it. Carol Baskin was her name, but I'm impressed that you even knew it was the lady. That was unbelievable.
This has been really fun. And if people are interested in Mensa, I would invite them to visit the American Mensa website. That's www.us.mensa.org.
Awesome. And to learn more about actually her Mensa chapter, check out plainsandpeaks.us.mensa.org. There's a lot of words there, but if you're smart enough, you should be in Mensa.
Wow, that is fascinating, Tori. Tori joining us now. Okay, so Tori, you took the practice test. Let's take a look at your results.
Okay, average.
You scored 36 of a possible 50. 72%. So a little bit above average.
Yeah, she did well. It's like the average score and then her score. So good on Tori.
But you know Tori wanted to be Mensa so bad.
How does it feel to be on the outside looking in?
Okay, here's the deal. It was timed, guys. It was timed. So I only got to 36 out of 50 because it was timed. But the questions were really tricky. Here's an example. Yeah, shut up. Tabitha likes cookies, but not cake. She likes mutton, but not lamb. And she likes okra, but not squash. Following the same rule, will Tabitha like cherries or pears?
Pears.
I didn't listen.
Why?
I think maybe look at the consistency of the food.
I actually think
that's wrong. You would never make it.
I know I wouldn't. I actually think Al could possibly be Mensa, Tori. I think Al needs to take a test.
Tori, are you giving me?
Oh, yeah,
should I take it?
Absolutely. I'll send you the link, but it's timed.
Tori, that was a fantastic interview. We'll be right back.
Can we call her 36?
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
to DBL. We love sharing your comments. You guys have a lot to say still in regard to the lockdown. Linda on Facebook says, we have plenty of TP here and Clorox wipes. Anisha says, we should have shut the whole country down at once and all quarantine for 14 days and get on one page. We probably would be through with it by then. January on Facebook says, a lockdown will destroy our people and our country. Nathaniel says, a shutdown will not work unless you shut down everything, not just the non-essential businesses, but the essential. Shutdowns will be pointless to many essential workers. And Don, there's something to be said about the natural order of selection.
I don't know. Well, we didn't say that with polio.
Great point. And we did eradicate polio.
Yes.
If
don't just let things run wild.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Adoption's gone tragically wrong. Why two parents are accused of the unthinkable in True Crime Chronicles. And how fame ruined Matthew McConaughey's relationship with his mom. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joins us from home. Let's get started because Michael B. Jordan has been named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. The actor posted, ooh, there he is, the cover on Instagram, writing that his grandma is looking down saying, that's my baby. He told People that his mom, aunts, and grandma were big fans of the annual issue. He's known for appearing, of course, as the villain in Black Panther alongside the late Chadwick Boseman. He also played Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, in the movie Creed with Sylvester Stallone, also The Wire. Michael made the big reveal on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. Jimmy even awarded him his trophy, which, by the way, was a mirror. Erica, what did you think of People's pick for Sexiest Man Alive? And if you could pick anybody, who would it be?
I think Michael has earned it. I really think what people miss about these picks are, I don't think they're just the aesthetic choice. I mean, obviously he is a very sexy man. He's a very attractive person, but we've seen him grow into the megastar that he's become. Like, he started off like innocent in these little like family dramas, like just the boyfriend or, just the guy next door. And now he's this mega star. And I think success and growth is sexy as hell.
It is. And I think that's actually what separates men from women. I think men typically look at the aesthetic, and there's data data that supports that. Women, we love the hustle. We love the passion. We love that person's swag, so to speak, and talent. I think that can be just as, if not more, attractive.
I think you're underestimating men.
I think you are too.
Yeah, and Jeff, here's my argument to that. You know who all my homies were in love with when we were young dudes? Is the mom from Married with Children, Peggy Bundy.
What?
A lot of my friends thought she was
because
attractive.
she was a little promiscuous.
Yeah, well, also
you were
she
into
was
her
like,
because she had cleavage
and I hate
from
to use this word because it's only associated with, but like feisty and like had something funny to say, and she had something about her. She had spirit.
Exactly.
And I think
what
she was
you just said right there.
Jackson.
I think Peggy Bundy was attracted to a lot of men because she wasn't just traditionally beautiful.
Just proved my point.
What?
Her outfits were skin tight with her cleavage from her chin.
But
to
then,
her
if that's
navel.
if we're going with your theory, then why wouldn't the Sports Illustrated supermodel be what we talked about? If it's just being scantily clad, it's because she had something. Jeff, back me up or come at me.
No, I'm triggered by what Sam says in the article and everything because, I don't think we should be putting men on a pedestal like this.
See what you did,
it's
Sam?
antiquated. I'll be having a conference in Dayton, Ohio.
No, that's actually that's real statistics. I'm not
I don't
trying.
know. I'm going to have a conference complaining about people, not People Magazine, people in general. We're going to be dressing like Teletubbies during the banquet
Erica,
portion.
get in.
I'm with that.
Thanks, Al.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, that's enough, Jeff. We got it.
Well,
we
I'm
got it. And
canceling-
Al,
I'm
we have
canceling
no
people.
idea what you were talking about.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Erica.
Your point was mute before you even got it out. Okay.
Erica, I'm just
Okay,
saying,
final thought.
guys like that. I'm just saying, don't sleep on dudes. I know no
You
guys
just
ever been
proved
like,
my-
look at the
you-
Sports Illustrated model. There's women that have a little something.
You see what your hand
but see,
motion
here's
was?
the
I'm
issue,
doing that.
Al.
Where do you want me to put them here?
Okay, wow. You just proved my point. 2005 Sexiest Man Alive, speaking of which.
I don't like that term.
Matthew McConaughey reveals that he was estranged from his mom for 8 years because she was, quote, obsessed with his fame. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Matthew says in the mid-90s, his mom started taking advantage of his newfound fame. He says she would leak news about him to the media and even invited the tabloid TV show Hard Copy into her home. Watch.
Mom's leading the camera, going, and there's the bed where I caught him with Michelle. You know what they're doing? No big deal because she didn't last. Over here's the bathroom. And of course, I walked in him on there and caught him doing you know what before as well. But don't worry about it, it's no big deal. And over here, I'm going, holy Mom, you got Hard Copy in my bedroom. She goes like, oh, that. Oh, that. I go, yeah, that. And she goes, I didn't think you'd find out.
Now, I'm sorry to jump in here, guys, but I've always wanted to ask this of Jeff. You're super humble about your fame, but you are a famous dude. People know you, and you're already making a face. When you came out of the Big Brother house the first time, what was the first thing that you kind of knew, like, people know me?
Yeah, because yours was instant famous.
It's weird.
Let me clarify. It's 15 minutes, okay? So I do have a story actually about that. I didn't think anyone was watching Big Brother. For those of you who don't know, I was on a reality show. When I came out, there was a live audience, right? And I came out of the house, and they're like, hey, Jeff. And I looked in the, it was an audience. So I was like, I think I went to college with that guy. What's he doing here? And someone's like, hey, Jeff. And I looked back and I waved. I'm like, I think that girl was a waiter at my restaurant. My mind was totally still where I was before I left, right? So I was like, what are those people? What are the odds that those people are here? And then Julie Chen goes to me, I'm like, that's so weird. I think I went to college with that guy. She goes, Jeff, people have been watching you for 3 months on television. And it didn't even register to me that I was like, what? And I look back and then everyone's like, yeah! And then I kind of felt the moment. I was like, I stood up and kind of I get engaged in it. But yeah, I didn't even realize that people were watching us. And then I don't mean to drone on, but when we got off, like the internet was just flooded with images of me and Jordan cartoons, and I stayed up. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was like, what is going on? It was crazy.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
Can we see a little picture really quick of Matthew McConaughey? He looked like saxophone dude. I didn't even recognize him.
Who is saxophone dude? You can't just say that.
No,
and then,
not that picture.
Are you talking about Kenny G?
Yes, Kenny G.
Good
one.
That's it.
He looked
Come on
just
now.
like Kenny G in the video. Look. I didn't
my
recognize
God, Sam.
Matthew.
Thank you, Erica.
What?
Kenny
Erica said
G.
no? Erica said no?
I'm surprised I didn't get beeped out by the booth.
Okay, well, another former Sexiest Man Alive, Erica, is George Clooney, and he has confirmed that he is one generous friend. In the latest issue of GQ, George says back in 2013, he gave 14 of his closest friends suitcases. each suitcase filled with $1 million. Wow. He says this was before he dated his wife Amal or had a family and wanted to repay all the friends who helped him out when he was a struggling actor. One of those friends was Cindy Crawford's husband, Randy Gerber. The two helped create Casamigos Tequila, which then they later sold in 2017 for $1 billion. Erica, what would you do if your friend gave you $1 million? And what if you were like the 15th friend and then you had to find out like the next day?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I really don't know what I would do if a friend gave me $1 million. I mean, obviously that would mean a lot in terms of what I meant to them, and that's a very special thing. I have thought about, what if I was in the position to really change somebody's lives? Like, who would I start with? And I know I would start with my parents, like that's kind of a no-brainer, but I would definitely automatically weed out anyone who I've given money and I haven't heard from them, or I've given money to and they've posted something on social media flaunting how cool and great they are, but have neglected to pay me back. So those are the people I wouldn't give money to.
Yeah, but you know they'd be one of the first people to call you, being like, "Oh, hey, Erica, we heard you sold your franchise or whatever that may be."
Yeah, I mean, but is there an amount that would like offend you?
What do
like
you mean?
if I sold my tequila for $1 billion and I was like, I love my DBL family, here's a check for $3,000 for all my co-hosts. Would you guys?
I think this was before he sold it.
This was
before he sold it.
Okay, but let's say now.
No, absolutely not. If you gave me anything, I'd
You're
be like,
telling me you guys
"Thanks,
wouldn't be at the
buddy."
bar like 3,000. All right. Mr. Billionaire
I think
over
they'd
here.
be generous. I'd be like, thanks for
You are
giving
a
me
nice
anything.
guy.
I'm on. At least I'm on the list.
Obviously, you would feel differently if you found out I sold my candle company, Byron & Co., by the way, for $1 billion, and then I gave you a check for $3 grand. How would you feel?
I'd be like, great, we can go to a nice dinner.
A nice dinner? Where do you live?
I mean, can you change my life, Sam? You have $1 billion. Change my life, please. I'm your friend.
Wow, greedy.
It's kind of like judging your friends on how expensive the bottle of wine is that you bring over. Because if you're like, man, these people have a lot of money. I got to bring a $50 bottle, and you're pissed about it.
Have you ever Googled? Have you ever Googled the bottle when somebody gives you a bottle and then you go in your kitchen and you Google it?
No, but I know you have.
I'm not going to Sam's house.
Coming up on
Dang,
DBL.
man. Now you make me nervous. When I come over, I got to get a big bottle now.
Yeah, you do. Coming up.
Kendall Jackson.
A shocking family tragedy, innocent children who were adopted only to be allegedly held captive and killed. The fight for justice next in True Crime Chronicles.
Viewers sent us this tweet from former advisor to President Trump and conservative commentator Sebastian Gorka. In his tweet, he points out the backdrop during a Joe Biden speech that says, "Office of the President-elect," and he claims there is no such thing. Well, let's verify. Is there an official Office of the President-elect? Our sources are Gary Nordlinger, a political science professor at George Washington University, and a memo from the General Services Administration.
As best I can tell, it's a very, very nice photo backdrop that Joe Biden came up with in the last week.
Nordlinger says, no, there is no official federal office. However, our researchers did find a memo written this year by the General Services Administration, the agency that enables the presidential transition. The memo informally refers to an Office of the President-elect to simplify the terms for the transition team of the President-elect and the Vice President-elect. Our researchers also found this picture from January 11th, 2017. Look closely. President Trump himself had a similar sign that reads Office of the President-elect. So no, there is no official Office of the President-elect, but it is an informal title for a transition team, and Joe Biden isn't the first to use the title.
Welcome back to DBL. It's a twisted and very disturbing story from Tennessee, a true adoption nightmare. It all started with a missing boy, which unraveled a web of alleged child abuse and more. This is the story of the Gray family in DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
This is Michael and Shirley Gray. The couple grew up in Mississippi, where they raised their 2 biological kids. Once their kids got older, they moved to 10 Mile, a small community near Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where they decided to adopt 5 children over the span of 5 years. From the outside, it seemed like a normal, big family, but on the inside, pure torture. It all unraveled on May 22nd, 2020. An 11-year-old boy was spotted walking alone on a road.
Drew the attention of 2 people passing by. They contacted 911.
He was one of the Grays' adopted sons and told police he and his sibling were being held captive in their basement. But what he said next was even more disturbing.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
Police swarmed the Grays' home, and after questioning, Michael admitted to burying his dead 11-year-old daughter in his backyard in 2017.
They did find a skull, and at that point, the anthropology folks in the forensic center were called.
Police later discovered that little girl was locked in the basement as punishment for stealing food and died weeks later. During the search, 3 of the Grays' adopted children were found and recovered. Michael and Shirley were arrested.
Michael, do you have anything to say?
And then, a week later, while the Grays are in custody, detectives find a second body buried outside their biological son's home in Knox County. That body was another child the Grays adopted.
You are charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
Murder and child abuse charges. The couple allegedly starved their kids in filthy conditions.
Had no running water and no electricity. Inside this room was a bucket that was filled with human feces and urine.
The 3 surviving children weren't cared for in years. Little to no food, no education, and no doctor visits.
It is hard and it's ugly, the things that people will do to children.
So why did they do it? The couple was getting paid by the state monthly to care for these kids. Little is known, but for now the focus is on the kids and their long road to recovery.
The goal is to help these children understand that they're not bad and they didn't do anything wrong.
If the Grays are found guilty, they could get the death sentence.
Earlier, Tori and Al spoke with a reporter who is following this case. Take a look.
We're joined by senior investigative journalist John North from 10 News in Knoxville, Tennessee. All right, John, these kids were adopted and should have gone to a loving home. Instead, the worst happened. They were living in horrific conditions. What was that like for them, and how are the 2 surviving kids doing today? This breaks my heart.
Tori, it is a tough story to talk about. It's been a shocking one. They were put in terrible conditions, like you say. At least a couple of them were kept in a cage or confined downstairs. They were given very little food. At least one of them was given a bucket to use for the bathroom. It's that kind of conditions, if you can imagine. It's horrible enough to think about a grown-up, but they were doing this to children.
John, I'm going to ask you a question that I hope you can't answer. Do we know why the parents did this? Like, what could possibly have been their motive?
Al, it looks like from the records that we've got and from what the prosecution has said, that they basically were using the children for the money that they got, because they got payments for taking care of these adoptive children. That was kind of the trust that was given to them. We'll let you take care of these children, we'll pay you, but let's make sure you do a good job in looking after them. And the evidence is that they were not doing that at all. They were just happy to have the money.
This is like my worst crime for me. It touches, when you hurt a child, it's so different. The parents and their oldest son all pled not guilty. So, John, where does the case stand now? What's coming up next?
So it spans 2 counties. The elder couple is facing murder charges in one county where the first body was found of one of their children in the yard. And we now have a second case that involves, as you say, the elder parents and their natural-born son. because another body was found in the yard of this house in the second county. And those are murder cases as well. Everybody is in custody. We've got a court date coming up, I think, next month. We don't know if the death penalty is going to be sought. There's been a hint of that, but that is never a simple thing to pursue, as you guys know.
Yeah, we were just saying how I said I'm not for the death penalty personally, but in cases like this, it's very hard to not think that way, to be super honest with everyone. Do you feel the same way, John?
There are some cases that you look at and you go, yeah, that could be a death case. And then there's some that you're like, no, that's not going to be one. This is one that I think arguably you could say the prosecution will take a hard look at. But we also have to be honest, in today's society, the prosecution doesn't go for the death very often. It's just pretty rare.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you for keeping this case publicized. I know it's kind of gotten lost a bit, and we want to keep it in the headlines. For the latest on this case and to learn more, please visit WBIR.com. You can also listen to a new podcast episode about this case. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. John, thanks for keeping this in the headlines. We'll be right back.
Health markets.
Welcome back to DBL. New research shows more people are taking advantage of open enrollment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're chatting about it in this DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. So if you haven't signed up during open enrollment, the clock is ticking. 64% of workers surveyed say they want to pay more attention reviewing their employee benefits this year. 27% plan to increase their life insurance coverage or hospital insurance, and 57% reported financial stress or hardship this year. There are so many plans out there. It's all about finding the right one for you. We've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plan. Call 1-800-800-9974. Have you guys done the open enrollment yet? I keep putting it aside. I keep flagging my email to do it, but I don't know if I have to do it. Do I do it?
Jeff, I feel like that's your
Have you changed it, though, since Miles now?
Yeah, when you do have a child, that's a life event. So you can therefore bypass open enrollment, and within 30 days of a life event, having a child, you can add people to the plan. So Miles is added.
I told you about that thing that our parent, Tegna, has specifically, so you should look into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
I like that we're having like a private conversation.
Well, I don't know what to say without to say, hey, here's my health benefit number. You know?
I just got you can wrap.
I just like the life event takes all the humanity out of it. A life event.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, the radical step one young woman took to change her appearance, why she chose to bleach her own skin.
It always just felt like it was the world that had a problem with my skin, but not me.
And she was a woman of the law who said she was fired for being gay. How she turned the tables and was just elected the new sheriff in town.
I can run that department better than him, and I know it.
Her story tomorrow on DBL.
You cannot miss those stories. They are so good. Okay, and one last story before we go. Spike Lee is set to direct a musical film about the founders of Viagra. Spike co-wrote a screenplay based on an article that appeared in Esquire magazine called All Rise, the untold story about the guys who launched Viagra. The film will show how the little blue pill was originally a treatment for heart-related chest pain, but then researchers soon found out it had a game-changing effect below the belt. Good idea?
Yes, I think this is going to be really, I mean, let's be honest, Viagra has impacted our world in a major way. I mean, we laugh about, joke about it, but ED is a major thing. It affects both people in a marriage, and I think that it's probably changed a lot of the trajectory of a lot of people's sex lives.
And a clever title, which helps. Which helps.
So I hope about court.
What?
And he says, All Rise.
Well,
it's obviously not about
Thank you, Sam.
Jeez.
No, I just think it's, I don't know, I was kind of shook.
Would you watch it, Jeff?
Would I watch it?
Yeah.
Watch it right? Or watch the whole show?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Look what children you are. Erica, you know what I find fascinating is that I feel like we're, I mean,
where else are we going to go with that?
Maybe it's still not destigmatized sex and Viagra, but I think what's even has more of a greater stigma is when women talk about their libido. I feel like that still, there still really isn't even an equivalent to Viagra for women. So let's talk about it. It's real.
I agree. I think that it should be something that should be at the forefront. But I understand that women get down with Viagra too. So
that's what I've heard.
I don't know. I don't know.
Women
I just want to have
Viagra?
a show tomorrow. So you know, let's wrap this up.
Write a play about
I mean,
it.
look at the way the human body is set up. It makes sense.
About a women's libido? Sure,
Super
maybe I will. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks, Erica.
What we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
People are emptying store shelves again in fear of another lockdown. But could we be days away from a coronavirus vaccine rolling out? A wild case of road rage turns into a baseball bat fight in the streets. You won't believe what happens next. In today's True Crime Chronicles, an adoption nightmare under investigation.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
The unthinkable crimes these parents are accused of after years of having kids in their care. And Ice-T gives us the behind-the-scenes scoop on Law & Order SVU.
Who would be your dream cast member?
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. It is Wednesday, November 18th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joining us from home. We've got some really great news, so let's get started. The coronavirus vaccine, okay? Drug maker Pfizer says the final analysis of its vaccine shows it's actually 95% effective on patients, including seniors. The company plans to submit it to the FDA within days. Now, meantime, the FDA just approved this at-home test kit for COVID-19. It'll give you results in a half an hour. It will require a prescription. Now, all of these new tools cannot come soon enough, as the White House Coronavirus Task Force just came out with a serious new warning about the fall surge, saying, quote, there is now aggressive, unrelenting, expanding, broad community spread across the country without evidence of improvement, but rather further deterioration. Current mitigation efforts are inadequate and must be increased. So currently, 47 states, look at that map, you guys, are labeled as red zoned states. That's everywhere except Vermont, Maine, and Hawaii. Speaking of which, we're already seeing more empty shelves at stores across the country as people stock up ahead of another possible lockdown. In fact, Jeff, we had a number of our viewers writing in yesterday that when they went to some of their local stores, they could not find sanitizer yet again. They could not find toilet paper, paper towel. Here we are again.
It shocks me how overblown people go to like get all these products, but then when we say, hey, you could prevent this by doing this, nobody pays attention, right? They don't get overblown with that. I was listening to an interesting podcast talking about how the world on a global scale is handling this better than the United States, and like Europe specifically, they follow each other's lead. So if Germany has an idea that seemed to pan out in the last 8 or 9 months, France jumps on board, right? And then the Netherlands asks France, what are you doing? So they're all kind of on the same page. Here in America, we are on 50 different complete pages, right? South Dakota, one example, the mayor, the governor, I don't want to put her on blast, but I am putting her on blast because if I remembered, I'd blast her, is like, come visit South Dakota. We're not locking anything down. We're not even wearing masks. Come visit South Dakota. And I believe now North Dakota has the most deaths. Again, I'm not a doctor here, just listen to a podcast, but we need to get on the same page is basically what I just ranted about.
Then that would be a federal mandate. That would be a federal mandate, Al, but a lot of people don't want it to be federal.
Yeah, Sam, we keep losing sight of the fact that we are in a capitalistic society. And there's no money, Jeff, in us all being on the same page. There's money in dissent. I can sell chicken sandwiches during commercial breaks when I say, don't listen to what the government's telling you. Follow my blog, follow my Twitter, follow my TikTok as I tell you why this is all wrong. And no matter how, even though they won't get everybody, they'll get enough that we're going to continuously deal with this until we deal with the mandate. We would be doing the same thing if this was 1982 and it was seatbelts. We'd be doing the same thing.
Erica, do you think, considering, you know, when I remember when we first went on lockdown, Erica, you were so generous. You reached out to me. I just had baby Miles. And you said, Sam, if you need me to get any supplies for you, if you need me to do anything that you yourself can't do since you just had a child, let me do that. And we've always on this panel seen you as the most prepared survivalist, so to speak. What do you make of another lockdown and whether or not there's going to be enough inventory stocked up on shelves?
Well, first of all, I was very concerned, okay, because it's like this girl is going to get out of the hospital and be like, what is happening? Because we were all like, what is happening? But I think to Jeff's point, that was such a great point. People will load up on doomsday prep, but they won't do the things from day to day in order to prevent a doomsday to prep for. I mean, I went just to get on regular essentials from Amazon, which wasn't to prep for anything. And I got all these notifications back. Can't get this, can't get that. As far as the actual vaccine coming, and we aren't, I mean, like you said, we kind of always keep things readily available so that we're not in this panic mode. I'm just always kind of thinking that anything could happen at any time. Big Mama kind of instilled that in me. But in terms of the actual vaccine being in the next few days, there are a lot of people that need to think outside of themselves. Think about people who have lost spouses, especially in elderly age groups. These are people who are asking, what is the point of living a life if I can't actually live it? So these are people who are very much looking forward to this coming out so that they can have a sense of normalcy, you know, in older years.
No, that's important to remember. And I also want to involve a couple of comments, and we'll get to the next story. Douglas on Twitter says, so everyone is in this together, protect one another, yet hoard all the supplies for themselves. Hypocrites, great point. And Golden C on Twitter says, it's not the bleeping apocalypse, people, calm the bleep down. Thank you, DBL Nation. Okay, we do have a couple of crazy viral videos. First up, here's something you don't expect to see on the streets of New York City. A man with a flamethrower hops on top of a city bus. He was filmed firing the weapon into the air over and over again. Turns out it may have been part of a Wu-Tang tribute music video by a local rap artist. Police said they are investigating. I love how, like, the bystanders, Al, they're not even, like, fazed by it. People just start whipping out their phones.
Those are New Yorkers. That's everything now. Anytime something goes down, people grab their phones. And you know, anything that's pro Wu-Tang, it's Wu-Tang Wednesday, Jeff. I'm sure you guys celebrated at home before you got here. So I'm all on board on that.
You are?
Is that like a Taco Tuesday? Is it rivaling?
It is. Well, I mean, nothing rivals tacos, but yeah.
All right.
And here's another viral video, Erica. Extreme road rage caught on camera. And a warning to our viewers, this video is a little graphic. It was reportedly all over a parking spot in Queens, New York. A man with a baseball bat begins to smash a white car. The car quickly turns to hit him and then plows through a local bakery with the man on his hood. Erica.
I just automatically assume that everybody is crazy until they prove differently, and it's still a probationary period, okay? I waved to this woman, thanking her for letting me in on the highway. I thought she had let me in, and I went like this to wave. Well, apparently she thought that I had flipped her off, so she came up next to me, nearly ran me into the emergency lane, and made sure to flip me off 3 times before speeding off to wherever she was going. And I was like, you know, you can't win for losing. Just assume everybody is crazy at all times.
Yeah, terrifying. Wow. Okay, so Erica, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, People magazine crowns the new sexiest man alive. We'll reveal the hot hunk.
It's clearly me.
It might be Al. Plus, inside the elite club, where being brainy is boss, does Tori have what it takes to hang with the best and the brightest? And we're catching up with SVU stars Jamie Gray Hyder and Ice-T, how the pandemic is impacting their long-running show. Next.
Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and a pair of infectious disease experts.
Based on what we know right now,
it's likely that a vaccine would be recommended for a person who's had COVID, because we don't think that prior infection is likely to generate lasting immunity.
Dr. Stuart Ray, a professor of medicine at Johns Hopkins, says the vaccine will add a layer of protection.
Given the stakes, it seems a good idea to be really sure.
I think the answer is going to be yes.
And Dr. Linda Nabha says that if a patient does acquire some antibodies, we still don't know how long those antibodies last and whether they provide immunity.
I've had patients in my office who I have had them had documented cases of COVID, documented right through the nasal swabs, and been positive for a few months, and I've tested their antibody tests, a few months later, and they're negative. Shocking, but it does happen.
On their website, the CDC says that, quote, people may be advised to get a COVID-19 vaccine even if they have been sick with COVID-19 before. So we can verify, if you're one of the millions of Americans who have already contracted the virus, our experts say it's probably going to be recommended that you get vaccinated. Now, if you've got something that you want verified, you can email the whole team at verify@WUSA9.com.
Welcome back to DBL. When it comes to crime shows, Law & Order SVU is the undisputed champion. Well, the show is back for its 22nd season, and I got to sit down with veteran Ice-T and newcomer Jamie Gray Hyder. Check it out.
Paul Davies, NYPD. You're under arrest for first-degree murder.
Well, fans of SVU need no introduction to our two guests today because it is Ice-T and Jamie Gray Hyder from SVU. Welcome to Daily Blast Live.
What's up? What's up with the blast? How y'all doing?
Thank you. You guys actually went back to production during the pandemic. And unlike some other sets, y'all set is really like a set of the people. So how did you guys handle being in the pandemic? What were the precautions like?
Break it down, Jamie.
Well, there's a lot going on. I think that they've done a really good job about making sure we're all safe and still able to do the show in the way that we always have. So that includes testing every single day. That includes masks on everyone, shields on everyone. We have temperature checks twice a day. We rehearse with masks on, and really the actors are only exposed for the few moments that we're actively shooting. And I think, we're hoping people won't nitpick that too much because we are going to be acknowledging the pandemic in the show, but it's not really fun to watch somebody with half their face covered. So we don't wear masks while we're actually shooting, but the pandemic and all of that is part of the narrative for sure.
Ice, you've been very transparent in the past how episodic dramas like SVU can be some of the hardest gigs in Hollywood. How do you play the same character for 22 seasons and not get burnt out?
What makes it hard is because it's a movie that never stops. You shoot 23 episodes a season and it just keeps going. So once one episode ends, it just starts again. A new director comes in and just keeps going and going. If you shoot a movie, you might be in it for 2 months. Then you get a break till you get another movie. This is a year's work. What keeps me from not burning out, I'm not in every scene. This is an ensemble cast, so it's not like there's only one person carrying the whole show. That's what kills people. That's when you hear about these actors breaking down, from exhaustion. It's too much work for one person.
Jamie, I have to ask you, because Mariska is a legend. I'm sure you were a fan of the show before you stepped on. Was it intimidating to work with her?
the second that I came on set, Mariska was one of the first people to introduce herself to me and make sure that I knew that she wanted me there, and that, for instance, she had seen my audition tape and she was really excited. And to sort of have that nod of approval helped me remind myself that I have something to offer and I'm supposed to be here. It's not a fluke. I really hope there's an SVU season 42 in the future. But until then, I am so excited to be where I am.
Well, we're excited to see you and watch your character evolve. Ice, before you go, I have to ask, out of all the famous people, all of your friends you've had on the set, who would be your dream cast member to walk on to SVU?
Oh, my favorite actor, Brad Pitt.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we have a call to action, DBL Nation. Well, Jamie, Ice-T, thank you so much for spending time with us on Daily Blast Live. The new season of SVU is airing right now. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to DBL. Recognize this symbol? You've either seen it or have no idea. Well, it's Mensa, one of the oldest and largest high IQ societies in the world, a society so big, yet so little is known about it. Tori wanted to know what it's really like to be a member, so she went straight to the source and even took a test. Take a look.
Mensa International dates back decades. In 1946, two men decided to create a society for bright people, where race, color, age, religion, and politics didn't matter. Just one thing: their IQ.
It's just a number, but my IQ is being measured as being 145.
And that's the kind of IQ you need to get in. Let's break it down. 100 to 110 is a high average. 120 to 129 is superior. And 130 and above is considered highly gifted.
We are joined by Sandy Halby, local secretary and president of the Plains and Peaks Mensa in Colorado Springs. Sandy, you are part of the largest and oldest high IQ society in the world. Tell me a little bit more about what Mensa is. My co-host Jeff thought it was a Jewish support group, so clearly he's not getting in.
Well, Mensa is an international organization that was actually founded in 1946 in England for people who've scored in the top 2% on a standardized IQ test. There's lots of high IQ groups out there, but Mensa's the largest one with over 140,000 members.
Are you guys really that smart, or are you just really good at taking tests?
I don't know. One One real common misconception is that at our meetings and our events, we sit around talking about partial differential equations and that we play three-dimensional chess, things like that. We all have pocket protectors. So you have people out there from all walks of life. So you get such a variety of people. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy about Mensa.
And you'll even have a Daily Blast Live host. I'm just kidding. So who has the highest IQ in Mensa, and do any celebrities belong to a Mensa group?
Supposedly, the highest IQ is Marilyn Vos Savant. She used to have that column, Ask Marilyn.
Yes.
And supposedly, she had the highest IQ in the world. Now, as far as celebrities, Gina Davis was a member of Mensa.
Really?
Yes.
Man, that's amazing. All right, now the youngest member of the Mensa IQ Society is 3 years old.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how do you test someone that young, and how rare is it? Be honest.
It's very rare.
Okay.
Mensa has had members as young as 2 and as old as 106. Yes. But most Mensans are between 20 and 80. And as far as testing people that young, there's psychologists and psychiatrists who have tests that they can determine the intellectual potential of children.
I bet so many parents
but it's really rare.
Are
really
like, my kid can do it. My kid can put the round thing in the round hole. It's amazing. So Mensa is open to anyone that scores a 98% or higher on an IQ test. I'm going to be taking the test and releasing the results, I promise. But I was wondering if you were up for a little test from our side of the camera. It's called the Densa test, and it's all pop culture, if you're ready.
Pop culture is my weak area on trivia.
That's what we thought.
Let's give it a go.
That was what we were hoping for. All right, number one, who is your favorite Kardashian? Can you name any?
Oh, Kim.
Oh, starting off strong, Sandy. Starting off strong. Number two, who is Justin Bieber married to?
Well, I know Justin Bieber is a Canadian.
Oh, look, this is fantastic. That counts. It's Haley Baldwin, but I like the answer of the geographic one better. That was really good. All right, how about this one? Which cast member of the Tiger King series was on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, it was the lady, and I thought it was because I watched that whole thing. I thought the Tiger King thing was fascinating.
Me too.
So I binged it, okay?
I'm so proud you even watched it. Carol Baskin was her name, but I'm impressed that you even knew it was the lady. That was unbelievable.
This has been really fun. And if people are interested in Mensa, I would invite them to visit the American Mensa website. That's www.us.mensa.org.
Awesome. And to learn more about actually her Mensa chapter, check out plainsandpeaks.us.mensa.org. There's a lot of words there, but if you're smart enough, you should be in Mensa.
Wow, that is fascinating, Tori. Tori joining us now. Okay, so Tori, you took the practice test. Let's take a look at your results.
Okay, average.
You scored 36 of a possible 50. 72%. So a little bit above average.
Yeah, she did well. It's like the average score and then her score. So good on Tori.
But you know Tori wanted to be Mensa so bad.
How does it feel to be on the outside looking in?
Okay, here's the deal. It was timed, guys. It was timed. So I only got to 36 out of 50 because it was timed. But the questions were really tricky. Here's an example. Yeah, shut up. Tabitha likes cookies, but not cake. She likes mutton, but not lamb. And she likes okra, but not squash. Following the same rule, will Tabitha like cherries or pears?
Pears.
I didn't listen.
Why?
I think maybe look at the consistency of the food.
I actually think
that's wrong. You would never make it.
I know I wouldn't. I actually think Al could possibly be Mensa, Tori. I think Al needs to take a test.
Tori, are you giving me? Should I take it?
Absolutely. I'll send you the link, but it's timed.
Tori, that was a fantastic interview. We'll be right back.
Can we call her 36?
Promotional consideration is brought to you by This is
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. You guys have a lot to say still in regard to the lockdown. Linda on Facebook says, we have plenty of TP here and Clorox wipes. Anisha says, we should have shut the whole country down at once and all quarantine for 14 days and get on one page. We probably would be through with it by then. January on Facebook says, a lockdown will destroy our people and our country. Nathaniel says, a shutdown will not work unless you shut down everything, not just the non-essential businesses, but the essentials. Shutdowns will be pointless to many essential workers. And Don, there's something to be said about the natural order of selection.
I don't know. Well, we didn't say that with polio.
Great point. And we did eradicate polio.
Yes.
If
don't just let things run wild.
If you're sticking around, here's what's coming up on DBL. Adoption's gone tragically wrong. Why two parents are accused of the unthinkable in True Crime Chronicles. And how fame ruined Matthew McConaughey's relationship with his mom. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Erica joins us from home. Let's get started because Michael B. Jordan has been named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive. The actor posted, ooh, there he is, the cover on Instagram, writing that his grandma is looking down saying, "That's my baby." He told People that his mom, aunts, and grandma were big fans of the annual issue. He's known for appearing, of course, as the villain in Black Panther alongside the late Chadwick Boseman. He also played Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, in the movie Creed with Sylvester Stallone, also The Wire. Michael made the big reveal on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night. Jimmy even awarded him his trophy, which, by the way, was a mirror. Erica, what did you think of People's pick for Sexiest Man Alive? And if you could pick anybody, who would it be?
I think Michael has earned it. I really think what people miss about these picks are, I don't think they're just the aesthetic choice. I mean, obviously he is a very sexy man. He's a very attractive person, but we've seen him grow into the megastar that he's become. Like, he started off like innocent in these little like family dramas, like just the boyfriend or, just the guy next door. And now he's this megastar. And I think success and growth is sexy as hell.
It is. And I think that's actually what separates men from women. I think men typically look at the aesthetic, and there is data that supports that. Women, we love the hustle. We love the passion. We love that person's swag, so to speak, and talent. I think that can be just as, if not more, attractive.
I think you're underestimating men.
I think you are too.
Yeah, and Jeff, here's my argument to that. You know who all my homies were in love with when we were young dudes? Is the mom from Married with Children, Peggy Bundy.
What?
A lot of my friends thought she was
because
attractive.
she was a little promiscuous.
Yeah, well, also
she
was like,
she had cleavage,
and I hate to use this word because it's only associated with women, but like feisty and like had something funny to say, and she had something about her. She had spirit.
Exactly.
And I think
what
she was
you just said right there.
I
think Peggy Bundy was attracted to a lot of men because she wasn't just traditionally beautiful.
Just proved my point.
What?
Her outfits were skin tight with her cleavage from her chin.
But then,
to her
if we're going with your theory, then why wouldn't the Sports Illustrated supermodel be what we talked about? If it's just being scantily clad, it's because she had something. Jeff, back me up or come at me.
No, I'm triggered by what Sam says in the article and everything because, I don't think we should be putting men on a pedestal like this.
See what you did,
it's
Sam?
antiquated. I'll be having a conference in Dayton, Ohio.
No, that's real statistics. I'm not
I don't
trying.
know. I'm going to have a conference complaining about People, not People Magazine, people in general. We're going to be dressing like Teletubbies during the banquet portion.
I'm with that.
Thanks, Al.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, that's enough, Jeff. We got it.
Well,
we got it. And Al, we have no
people.
idea what you were talking about. Okay.
Thank you, Erica.
Your point was mute before you even got it out. Okay.
Erica, I'm just saying, guys like that. I'm just saying, don't sleep on dudes. I know no guys ever been like, look at the Sports Illustrated model. There's women that have a little something.
You see what your hand motion was?
Here's the issue,
doing that.
Al.
Where do you want me to put him here?
Okay. Wow. You just proved my point. 2005 Sexiest Man Alive, speaking of which.
I don't like that term.
Matthew McConaughey reveals that he was estranged from his mom for 8 years because she was, quote, obsessed with his fame. During an episode of Red Table Talk, Matthew says in the mid-90s, his mom started taking advantage of his newfound fame. He says she would leak news about him to the media and even invited the tabloid TV show Hard Copy into her home. Watch.
Mom's leading the camera going, and there's the bed where I caught him with Michelle. You know what they're doing? No big deal because she didn't last. Over here's the bathroom. And of course, I walked in him on there and caught him doing you know what before as well. But don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And over here, I'm going, holy Mom, you got Hard Copy in my bedroom. She goes like, oh, that. Oh, that. I go, yeah, that. And she goes, I didn't think you'd find out.
Now, I'm sorry to jump in here, guys, but I've always wanted to ask this of Jeff. You're super humble about your fame, but you are a famous dude. People know you, and you're already making a face. When you came out of the Big Brother house the first time, what was the first thing that you kind of knew, like, people know me?
Yeah, because yours was instant famous.
It's weird.
Let me clarify. It's 15 minutes, okay? So I do have a story actually about that. I didn't think anyone was watching Big Brother. For those of you who don't know, I was on a reality show. When I came out, there was a live audience, right? And I came out of the house, and they're like, "Hey, Jeff," and I looked in the, it was an audience. So I was like, I think I went to college with that guy. What's he doing here? And someone's like, "Hey, Jeff," and I looked back and I waved. I'm like, I think that girl was a waiter at my restaurant. My mind was totally still where I was before I left, right? So I was like, what are those people? What are the odds that those people are here? And then Julie Chen goes to me, I'm like, that's so weird. I think I went to college with that guy. She goes, "Jeff, people have been watching you for 3 months on television." And it didn't even register to me that I was like, what? And I looked back and then everyone's like, yeah! And then I kind of felt the moment. I was like, I stood up and kind of I engaged in it. But yeah, I didn't even realize that people were watching us. And then I don't mean to drone on, but when we got off, like the internet was just flooded with images of me and Jordan cartoons, and I stayed up. I didn't sleep at all that night. I was like, what is going on? It was crazy.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
Can we see a little picture really quick of Matthew McConaughey? He looked like saxophone dude. I didn't even recognize him.
Who is saxophone dude? You can't just say that.
No, not that picture.
Are you talking about Kenny G?
Yes, Kenny G.
Good one. That's it.
He looked just like Kenny G in the video. Look. I didn't even recognize Matthew.
Thank you, Erica.
What? Erica said no? Erica said no?
I'm surprised I didn't get beeped out by the booth.
Okay, well, another former sexiest man alive, Erica, is George Clooney, and he has confirmed that he is one generous friend. In the latest issue of GQ, George says back in 2013, he gave 14 of his closest friends suitcases. Each suitcase filled with $1 million. Wow. He says this was before he dated his wife Amal or had a family and wanted to repay all the friends who helped him out when he was a struggling actor. One of those friends was Cindy Crawford's husband, Randy Gerber. The two helped create Casamigos Tequila, which then they later sold in 2017 for $1 billion. Erica, what would you do if your friend gave you $1 million? And what if you were like the 15th friend and then you had to find out like the next day?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
I really don't know what I would do if a friend gave me $1 million. I mean, obviously that would mean a lot in terms of what I meant to them, and that's a very special thing. I have thought about, what if I was in the position to really change somebody's lives? Like, who would I start with? And I know I would start with my parents, like that's kind of a no-brainer, but I would definitely automatically weed out anyone who I've given money and I haven't heard from them, or I've given money to and they've posted something on social media flaunting how cool and great they are, but have neglected to pay me back. So those are the people I wouldn't give money to.
Yeah, but they'd be one of the first people to call you, being like, "Oh, hey, Erica, we heard you sold your franchise," or whatever that may be.
Yeah, I mean, but is there an amount that would like offend you?
What do you mean?
If I sold my tequila for $1 billion and I was like, I love my DBL family, here's a check for $3,000 for all my co-hosts. Would you guys?
I think this was before he sold it.
This was before he sold it.
Okay, but let's say now.
No, absolutely not. If you gave me anything, I'd
You're
be like,
telling me you guys
thanks,
wouldn't be at the bar like 3,000. All right. Mr. Billionaire
I think
over
that'd
here.
be generous. I'd be like, thanks for
You are
giving
a
me
nice
anything.
guy.
At least I'm on the list.
Obviously, you would feel differently if you found out I sold my candle company, Byron & Co., by the way, for $1 billion, and then I gave you a check for $3,000. How would you feel?
I'd be like, great, we can go to a nice dinner.
A nice dinner? Where do you live?
I mean, can you change my life, Sam? You have $1 billion. Change my life, please. I'm your friend.
Wow, greedy.
It's kind of like judging your friends on how expensive the bottle of wine is that you bring over. Because if you're like, man, these people have a lot of money. I got to bring a $50 bottle, and you're pissed about it.
Have you ever Googled? Have you ever Googled the bottle when somebody gives you a bottle and then you go in your kitchen and you Google it?
No, but I know you have.
I'm not going to Sam's house.
Coming up on DBL.
Man, now you make me nervous. When I come over, I got to get a big bottle now.
Yeah, you do. Coming up.
Kendall Jackson.
A shocking family tragedy. Innocent children who were adopted only to be allegedly held captive and killed. The fight for justice next in True Crime Chronicles.
Viewers sent us this tweet from former advisor to President Trump and conservative commentator Sebastian Gorka. In his tweet, he points out the backdrop during a Joe Biden speech that says, "Office of the President-elect," and he claims there is no such thing. Well, let's verify. Is there an official Office of the President-elect? Our sources are Gary Nordlinger, a political science professor at George Washington University, and a memo from the General Services Administration.
As best I can tell, it's a very, very nice photo backdrop that Joe Biden came up with in the last week.
Nordlinger says, no, there is no official federal office. However, our researchers did find a memo written this year by the General Services Administration, the agency that enables the presidential transition. The memo informally refers to an Office of the President-elect to simplify the terms for the transition team of the President-elect and the Vice President-elect. Our researchers also found this picture from January 11th, 2017. Look closely. President Trump himself had a similar sign that reads Office of the President-elect. So no, there is no official Office of the President-elect, but it is an informal title for a transition team, and Joe Biden isn't the first to use the title.
Welcome back to DBL. It's a twisted and very disturbing story from Tennessee, a true adoption nightmare. It all started with a missing boy, which unraveled a web of alleged child abuse and more. This is the story of the Gray family in DBL's True Crime Chronicles.
This is Michael and Shirley Gray. The couple grew up in Mississippi, where they raised their two biological kids. Once their kids got older, they moved to 10 Mile, a small community near Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where they decided to adopt 5 children over the span of 5 years. From the outside, it seemed like a normal, big family, but on the inside, pure torture. It all unraveled on May 22nd, 2020. An 11-year-old boy was spotted walking alone on a road.
Drew the attention of 2 people passing by. They contacted 911.
He was one of the Grays' adopted sons and told police he and his sibling were being held captive in their basement. But what he said next was even more disturbing.
He made a statement about a child being deceased and being buried in the backyard.
Police swarmed the Grays' home, and after questioning, Michael admitted to burying his dead 11-year-old daughter in his backyard in 2017.
They did find a skull, and at that point, the anthropology folks in the forensic center were called.
Police later discovered that little girl was locked in the basement as punishment for stealing food and died weeks later. During the search, 3 of the Grays' adopted children were found and recovered. Michael and Shirley were arrested.
Michael, do you have anything to say?
And then, a week later, while the Grays are in custody, detectives find a second body buried outside their biological son's home in Knox County. That body was another child the Grays adopted.
We were charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
Murder and child abuse charges. The couple allegedly starved their kids in filthy conditions.
Had no running water and no electricity. Inside this room was a bucket that was filled with human feces and urine.
The 3 surviving children weren't cared for in years. Little to no food, no education, and no doctor visits.
It is hard and it's ugly, the things that people will do to children.
So why did they do it? The couple was getting paid by the state monthly to care for these kids. Little is known, but for now the focus is on the kids and their long road to recovery.
The goal is to help these children understand that they're not bad and they didn't do anything wrong.
If the Grays are found guilty, they could get the death sentence.
Earlier, Tori and Al spoke with a reporter who is following this case. Take a look.
We're joined by senior investigative journalist John North from 10 News in Knoxville, Tennessee. All right, John, these kids were adopted and should have gone to a loving home. Instead, the worst happened. They were living in horrific conditions. What was that like for them, and how are the 2 surviving kids doing today? This breaks my heart.
Tori, it is a tough story to talk about. It's been a shocking one. They were put in terrible conditions, like you say. At least a couple of them were kept in a cage or confined downstairs. They were given very little food. At least one of them was given a bucket to use for the bathroom. It's that kind of conditions, if you can imagine. It's horrible enough to think about a grown-up, but they were doing this to children.
John, I'm going to ask you a question that I hope you can't answer. Do we know why the parents did this? Like, what could possibly have been their motive?
Al, it looks like from the records that we've got and from what the prosecution has said, that they basically were using the children for the money that they got, because they got payments for taking care of these adoptive children. That was kind of the trust that was given to them. We'll let you take care of these children, we'll pay you, but let's make sure you do a good job in looking after them. And the evidence is that they were not doing that at all. They were just happy to have the money.
This is like my worst crime for me. It touches, when you hurt a child, it's so different. The parents and their oldest son all pled not guilty. So, John, where does the case stand now? What's coming up next?
So it spans 2 counties. The elder couple is facing murder charges in one county where the first body was found of one of their children in the yard. And we now have a second case that involves, as you say, the elder parents and their natural-born son, because another body was found in the yard of this house in the second county. And those are murder cases as well. Everybody is in custody. We've got a court date coming up, I think, next month. We don't know if the death penalty is going to be sought. There's been a hint of that, but that is never a simple thing to pursue, as you guys know.
Yeah, we were just saying how I said I'm not for the death penalty personally, but in cases like this, it's very hard to not think that way, to be super honest with everyone. Do you feel the same way, John?
There are some cases that you look at and you go, yeah, that could be a death case. And then there's some that you're like, no, that's not going to be one. This is one that I think arguably you could say the prosecution will take a hard look at. But we also have to be honest, in today's society, the prosecution doesn't go for the death very often. It's just pretty rare.
Yeah, very true. Well, thank you for keeping this case publicized. I know it's kind of gotten lost a bit, and we want to keep it in the headlines. For the latest on this case and to learn more, please visit WBIR.com. You can also listen to a new podcast episode about this case. Just search True Crime Chronicles on your favorite podcast player. John, thanks for keeping this in the headlines. We'll be right back.
Health market.
Welcome back to DBL. New research shows more people are taking advantage of open enrollment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're chatting about it in this DBL Health Alert presented by Health Markets. So if you haven't signed up during open enrollment, the clock is ticking. 64% of workers surveyed say they want to pay more attention reviewing their employee benefits this year. 27% plan to increase their life insurance coverage or hospital insurance, and 57% reported financial stress or hardship this year. There are so many plans out there. It's all about finding the right one for you. We've made it easy to find the best and most cost-effective Medicare Advantage plan. Call 1-800-800-9974. Have you guys done the open enrollment yet? I keep putting it aside. I keep flagging my email to do it, but I don't know if I have to do it. Do I do it?
Jeff, I feel like that's your
Have you changed it, though, since Miles now?
Yeah, when you do have a child, that's a life event. So you can therefore bypass open enrollment, and within 30 days of a life event, having a child, you can add people to the plan. So Miles is added.
I told you about that thing that
yes,
our parent, Tegna, has specifically, so you should look into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
I like that we're having like a private conversation.
Well, I don't know what to say. We're about to say, hey, here's my health benefit number. You know?
I just got you can wrap.
I just like the life event takes all the humanity out of it. A life event.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Tomorrow on DBL, the radical step one young woman took to change her appearance, why she chose to bleach her own skin.
It always just felt like it was the world that had a problem with my skin, but not me.
And she was a woman of the law who says she was fired for being gay. How she turned the tables and was just elected the new sheriff in town.
I can run that department better than him, and I know it.
Her story tomorrow on DBL.
You cannot miss those stories. They are so good. Okay, and one last story before we go. Spike Lee is set to direct a musical film about the founders of Viagra. Spike co-wrote a screenplay based on an article that appeared in Esquire magazine called All Rise, the untold story about the guys who launched Viagra. The film will show how the little blue pill was originally a treatment for heart-related chest pain, but then researchers soon found out it had a game-changing effect below the belt. Good idea?
Yes, I think this is going to be really, I mean, let's be honest, Viagra has impacted our world in a major way. I mean, we laugh about, joke about it, but ED is a major thing. It affects both people in a marriage, and I think that it's probably changed a lot of the trajectory of a lot of people's sex lives.
And a clever title, which helps. Which helps.
So I hope about court.
What?
And he says, All Rise.
Well,
it's obviously not about
Thank you, Sam.
Jeez.
No, I just think it's, I don't know, I was kind of shut
Would you
down
watch
with
it,
that
Jeff?
Would I watch it?
Yeah.
Watch it right? Or watch the whole show?
Gosh.
Yeah.
Look what children you are. Erica, you know what I find fascinating is that I feel like we're, I mean,
where else are we going to go with that?
Maybe it's still not destigmatized sex and Viagra, but I think what's even has more of a greater stigma is when women talk about their libido. I feel like that still, there still really isn't even an equivalent to Viagra for women. So let's talk about it. It's real.
I agree. I think that it should be something that should be at the forefront. But I understand that women get down with Viagra too. So
that's what I've heard.
I don't know. I don't know.
Women
I just
can
want to
take
have a show
Viagra?
tomorrow. So you know, let's wrap this up.
Write a play about
I mean,
it.
look at the way the human body is set up. It makes sense.
About a women's libido? Sure,
Super
maybe I will. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks, Erica.
Thank you.